All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Vie Cup Tournament. This is on a 15 delay, so we might get your messages a little late, but I want to welcome you to our wonderful casters over here. We have Eliegel and Morrigan. So you guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves a little bit. Let's hear about you guys. You are muted. Still muted. Nope. Oh no. Are we muted? I can't hear you guys at all. Hold on a sec. I might have messed something up. Oh, I messed something up. Okay. Sorry about that. Go ahead, you guys.
All right. Well, I'll
There.
begin. This is Ellie Eggle. Started playing Hearthstone back in the beta. Been legend. Been following the pro scene a lot, and looking forward to casting this series today.
Awesome.
And I'm Morgan, and I've also been playing since the early beta, gotten Legend 3 times, and played in this very tournament, and I'm excited to cast.
And you did a very good job, I might say. Some tough matches.
Sid is very tough, let me tell you. He's not going to be an easy knockout.
Now, you guys have probably seen a few of the games so far. Who do you think might take this?
I've got to say, I think that Jorduno is got the stronger set of decks. He tended to play the stronger plays overall. I'm interested to see how a couple of them work out, so I'm not going to spoil any of the decks right now. That's my favorite.
And I'm
Okay.
going to agree with that. Jorduno has fantastic decks, and he just came off a 2-0 of Pepsi, who's a great player, we all know, so I think he's got the momentum going in.
Awesome. Well, I surely look forward to seeing you guys play in the tournament, or seeing everybody who's playing in the tournament today. Make sure you guys are rooting. Give them some really good encouragement. Again, it's on a 15-minute delay, so that way nobody can see each other's matches, while we're on stream here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to tweet at illegal. Morrigan's Twitter doesn't seem to be working, so you don't want to tweet questions to him. But you guys can put them in the stream, and we'll try to get to them. But of course, remember it's on a 15-minute delay, and we're gonna go ahead and get ready for our first match, which is gonna be Sid versus Giordino.
You can also message me on Twitch if you want to.
All right, we're getting into the pregame setup here. Once again, welcome everyone to V Cup 2015. Once again, this is Eliegel, and we do have some great prizes here. We are going to witness the semifinals and the finals. The semifinals is, of course, a best-of-3 series. Each player has 2 decks that they're going to play and 1 deck that they might not play. After the first game, they're going to either have 1 deck eliminated, or they're going to be able to play the same deck again, depending on if they win or lose. We are actually going to jump into the first match here.
The winner will be playing the same deck, while the loser has to change. Now, Sid beat Dressard and me in the first 2 rounds, while Jorduno beat Sean Pepsi.
All right, so we're getting into the opening mulligans here. The mage has an excellent starting hand, an excellent curve. Doesn't look like there's going to be any need to throw these cards away. The shaman did throw all his cards and end up getting the zombie chow. That's going to help a lot against this mech mage.
Yeah, we've looked at the deck, and we know that he really needs that zombie chow to start off fast on the shaman.
Now, the mech mage does have a couple options here. He can go ahead and play the mana worm and play the coin so that he can buff it up right away. Clockwork Gnome can go out, which means that next turn, the Annoyatron will be able to take out the rest of the zombie chow. Looking at the shaman's hand, there may be cause to use the Crackle here, but if he does that, he's going to overload himself and be unable to play the Feral Spirit.
Yeah, that's the question. Is you want to play Feral next turn or get rid of the Mana Worm right now?
Now, I probably would get rid of the Mana Worm here. If you've been watching or know the deck with the Mana Worm, it's got all sorts of... It's going to get the spare part this turn, of course, which is going to buff the Mana Worm. It's got the unstable portals. It's got Frost Bolts. You don't want that Mana Worm growing out of control.
Right, he already got the coin start with it, which is ideal on turn 1.
We're going to see a Fire Blast here. Oh, actually an Annoyatron. Annoyatron, a much better play. Get yourself a little bit more tempo. Shaman, though, does not have a play here. He's just going to have to totem up, keep it going. But the Mage is also having a little bit of a slow start. You're going to have to look for a little bit of luck with the top deck or Unstable Portal minion coming up.
Spell power is not what Sid was looking for. He doesn't have any spells to cast in his hand anymore. Both players' hands are really slowing down unless Unstable Portal can grab something here.
He does go ahead and swing against the Annoyatron. Not sure. He might be just getting ready to prepare for some kind of Flame Tongue top deck. I'm not sure I agree with that. As a result, Jorduno is going to actually be able to get a attack off with the Annoyatron that he would have otherwise had to spend on the Zombie Chow. He does pick up a Tauren Warrior. Don't often see this card in Constructed. It can enrage and get an extra 3 attack. Might be a good pickup.
It's a pretty average drop off the Unstable Portal, a bad 3-drop for 0. Or 2 mana from the initial investment of the portal.
Now, looking at the Shaman's hand, Sid has Feral Spirit, and if she plays that against the Tauren Warrior here, it is going to be able to get that Enrage.
Yeah, I'll be able to take out these Feral Spirits just with Board. And again, we've got Overload for Sid. He won't be able to use his 5-drops next turn.
We're going to see the Frostbolt play and a trade there. Not sure... Oh, okay. So he's going to go ahead and ping the Tauren Warrior and go for face, using that Enrage to the best of his abilities. We do see the Shaman is overloaded, so he's not going to be able to play any cards this turn.
I like this aggression by the Mage a lot.
Ooh, does pick up the Taunt Totem. It's probably the best out of the 3 he could have gotten. This is going to stop the 5 damage here unless he chooses to use his hero power. We're definitely going to be seeing a Sludge Belcher in all likelihood here.
Wow. Decides to play it slow. He really wants that 5 damage hitting the face.
Well, I don't know if I agree with this play. Sludge Belcher going out is going to give you an extra 3 damage next turn, probably another 3 damage coming up. You got to be worried because Shaman didn't play any cards. You know that Shamans run Fire Elementals, and that's what we're going to absolutely see here.
Yep, it's a big swing. Jorduno chose to go face early. We'll see if he can pick up a second Fireball maybe to finish this game.
He's definitely going to have to play the Fireball here, otherwise he's going to lose a lot of minions. Doesn't have to go to face, but he might want to choose to get rid of the Wrath of Air. Decides not to. Later on, there isn't really a lot on the board that's going to give that Wrath of Air any value. Now the Shaman has very few plays once again. Of all the cards in his hand, he can only play 1 and a Totem. He can play all those cards, but he can only play 1 card out of all those cards.
I don't think he tells anyone.
He does have a very strong hand, though, if this game goes on. He's got a lot of creatures.
Now, the question is going to be, can he actually play all of this? This turn, he's probably going to play a 5-drop and a Totem. He's going to play the Antique Healbot. I would have liked to see the Azure Drake drawing into some more cards at this point. You know you're going to have the Healbot for later to save you. There's no lethal combination that the Mage could have that's going to kill you with 7 mana.
Timer Winders probably aren't what he's looking for here with Antonidas.
Timer Winder with Antonidas is okay. It's a major tempo loss, but you already got to be ahead on the board. So in this case, you're absolutely right. It is probably one of the worst pickups he could have gotten.
Cloakfield, of course, being the best.
Absolutely. So the Shaman cannot clear this board in its current state. He can, however, get rid of the bigger threats. He can get rid of the Annoyatron, and he can get rid of the 4/4 by playing the Flame Tongue Totem. He will be able to totem up and play a Shredder. It's at this point where you kind of wish you had some more options. So that Azure Drake last turn might have been the better choice. But of course the Azure Drake would have died to the 4/4 had he played that with the trade. So it may have actually turned out good. Sylvanas
Sylvanas, it could be a play to sort of stop the Archmage. Of course we know the Timer Winder would rewind the Archmage right back to hand.
Right. So now we got a tough position for the mage. He can start. The shaman is healed for 8. He's really out of range. Uh, you can't play Antonidas and keep him on the board. He'll just get stolen by Sylvanas. So he's going to use the Antonidas and bring him back to his hand. That does leave a lot of damage for the shaman on board.
Second heal bot for the shaman as well. He's not dying anytime soon.
Yeah, it looks like Sid accurately predicted this. I believe that this was actually the first match you had in your...
Yeah, it's a very tough deck to play against because anytime you try and go face, he heals back up.
We've been seeing some shaman heal bots added in here recently. Now, of course, the shaman has a great couple options here. He can play the Azure Drake, try to draw into some more cards. He's got plenty of cards right now because he has such a heavy hand. He could play the Azure Drake and a piloted Shredder. I expect that we're going to see a trade with the Wrath of Air Totem. We're going to see the Azure Drake and piloted Shredder go down. Ragnaros, just not needed at this point.
Right.
8 damage to the face now versus targetable damage with 2 other minions.
Having the Ragnaros in your back pocket in case the Archmage gets cloaked later is very nice too. But he goes with it right now.
All right, Rag is going to face. If doesn't have a lot of options once again with Antonidas being off the board. There's nothing to contest any of this damage actively. A Sludge Belcher, of course, going to go down here after a Fireball into the Sylvanas. Trying to block any kind of Ragnaros shots from just going to the face.
Or lethal, he gets an Alakir with a Rock Biter on the other side of that Flame Tongue. It's always scary when the Flame Tongue's on the board.
Now looking at Sid's hand, it looks like there's going to be that Azure Drake. None of these cards are really all that exciting. You're really hoping to pick up something that can get you through this Sludge Belcher a little easier. Sludge Belcher is the natural enemy, of course, of the piloted Shredder, being able to take it out and still not only survive, but not have that last hit point left. Oh, he's going to go with another anti-heal bot. He's going to actually try to prevent... No, he's still making a decision here.
He must be thinking he's far enough ahead now that he just wants to make sure he cannot die.
Well, there is literally no combination of spells that can take you down from that level of health at this point. I would have liked to have still seen the piloted Shredder go down, even if it isn't that good against Sludge Belcher. He could have put it next to the Flame Tongue Totem.
Much stronger minion, for sure.
Absolutely. So at this point, Jorduno is able to remove the Ragnaros, but that's going to leave 11 damage on the board, which of course is going to be 1 damage off lethal for Sid with the Crackle at the lowest amount of RNG.
And he'd always have the shot to throw a totem out there too and get guaranteed lethal with the Crackle. So yeah, big trouble for Jorduno.
This is about the only play that keeps him alive at this point. We are going to see if that Crackle does deliver lethal damage. I would expect it to go out first. You might even totem up, try to get the...
I'd expect the totem, yep.
Actually, it is lethal. We forgot about the Azure Drake spell damage, which makes it guaranteed.
Ah, that's right.
All right. So Sid's going to take game 1 here.
Shaman strikes again. Man, this deck is just unstoppable right now.
I really like how it seems to have been brought exactly to counter these kind of aggressive mech decks. I'm surprised, however, that it's able to survive so well in the early game. The Mech Mage had a pretty poor draw at the start. It wasn't really a Mech Mage. The Unstable Portal didn't give the best possible minion it could have. I would like to see that Mage deck get a little bit of changes to be a more traditional Mech deck.
The Zombie Chow helped the Shaman too. He has so few low drops, so many high legendaries, and yet he got a good opening. He's able to crackle out that Mana Worm, trade with the Zombie Chow, curve out well from there.
So the Shaman's going to have to stay. Jorduno has some options here into what deck he can pick. He's
Paladin or Rogue?
Well, against this kind of Shaman with that much healing, I might opt for the Rogue. Try to burst him down early. You saw a lot of late game cards. you saw a pretty weak early game. You might be able to burst through and just get it down. Of course, Blade Flurry is going to be an excellent way to just absolutely clear the board and destroy it. We are going to be hopping now into game number 2.
Yeah, I tried the Paladin route against it, and it felt awful against the Shaman deck, so I'm hoping he goes Rogue here.
It looks like he did
No, he goes with
select
the Shaman.
Paladin.
For Doomhammer, I will fight with honor.
Looks like the Shaman does have a little bit of early game removal in this opening hand. He's got a Rock Biter. He's got a Hex for one of the bigger Mech Mage minions. And he has the most important card, the Lightning Storm. He's going to throw away the Hex.
It's not as great as his last opening, though. Could be open to some aggression here from that Knife Juggler, the Shielded Minibot, a Noyotron even in this Paladin.
Right. With it's going to be interesting to see what minion gets played out here first by the Paladin. I would expect the Shielded Minibot, Knife Juggler being susceptible to a number of Shaman 1-mana removals. And out it goes. Now, Coin Feral Spirit is an option, or it is going to lock, although it locks you out of your next play, you do have the Rock Biter to play, as well as a Piloted Shredder for the turn afterwards. So I would expect to see that going out this turn.
Coin Feral, so he's going to be very mana locked next turn. He won't even be able to totem.
This is, of course, very strong against the Shielded Minibot, and also very strong against the Anoyatron. Anoyatron's going to be the choice play. He doesn't attack with the Shielded Minibot. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think he should have gone for it. If the Shaman has to run both of those minions into the Anoyatron, one of them is going to die. The one that gets attacked by the Shielded Minibot. And it's going to open up his next turn to finish it off.
I don't mind this play too much. Anything that attacks the Anoyotron will be killable by the Minibot now.
He's going to attack both minions, get through that Anoyatron, pick up a free card. And he's going to Rock Biter the 2/2 to prevent it from taking out both of these Spirit Wolves. So right
Doesn't
now,
stop Consecration.
no, it does not. I would anticipate the Consecration going out here, and it does. You got your Shielded Minibot that's going to stay on the board, go to face. You got your Sludge Belcher follow-up play. That's pretty good. You're going to be able to counter any kind of Piloted Shredder and most of the 4-drops with that Sludge Belcher. Piloted Shredder, of course, is the card selected.
Great counter against the Minibot.
Ooh, True Silver Champion. What do you think about playing True Silver instead of Sludge Belcher here? I do think the Sludge Belcher is the better play.
I like the Sludge too. It just counters the Shredder so well with its 5 HP.
Not a lot going on in the Shaman's hand. If he plays any of his cards that he can play right now, he's going to be overloaded for that Fire Elemental, and that Fire Elemental is set up to get some pretty good value. This might just be a Totem Pass turn. Another option would be to Lightning Storm and get ready to use Dr. Boom the turn after in 2 turns.
Yeah, turn 5's usually the one you want to most avoid any overload on, so you can get that Fire Elemental out. So powerful on turn 6, but he may not have a choice but to play the Feral Spirits here if he thinks he's behind.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of his hand, 6, 7, 8, the next few turns may just be predetermined. If he has to answer with any of those spells, that completely negates the great curve he has there. If he does play a Lightning Storm or a Feral Spirits, does he trade here?
Just considering it, with Lightning Storm you definitely do. Just get that Belcher out of the way.
Oh, very interesting. Gets the Sorcerer's Apprentice. It's actually going to open up the ability to play both Lightning Storm and Feral Spirit. Quite possibly one of the best pickups he could have gotten out of that Shredder.
Absolutely. Besides maybe a Bluegill Warrior to charge in.
If you're going to overload yourself, you might as well overload yourself a lot. Next turn, that's of course going to leave him with 2 mana.
Which is enough to Lightning Storm as it is, but I doubt we'll see that now with the True Silver coming out.
Right, and he's already got minions that can clear out any kind of board that gets put out here. So I believe we're going to see Totem up and see the board get cleared. that True Silver Champion going to be able to go into the...
Healing Totem would be huge.
No, it doesn't get it. So there's no need to Lightning Storm here. It's just a 1-2 and a 1-1. The 1-1, not even really a card.
True Silver already trades with any of your minions, so taking damage on them isn't too worrisome.
It's interesting. There might be able to be a strange kind of equality play coming up here with a Knife Juggler. Maybe get a Lucky Juggle. I don't think it's really that worth it. I would expect to see a Knife Juggler go down and probably a Piloted Shredder with it.
That looks like the strongest play to me as well. Hope for the Lucky Juggle.
Yep, 33% chance. Oh, wow. He does get the juggle.
Oh my gosh. Jorduno, I must say, has the best jugglers I've ever seen. His match against Pepsi, he was playing against Oil Rogue, and Pepsi had him at 9 health, 2 minions on the board. Knife Juggler sniped both of them, cleared the board, and prevented Pepsi from winning that game. And here again, it clears board.
Now, even though the Paladin has been controlling board, and even with that Lucky Juggle, the Shaman's hand is just so daunting at this point. He's going to use the Fire Elemental to clear that Knife Juggler out. That's just another card down in the value for Jorduno. Unless he picks up a Lay on Hands, I don't think he's going to be able to come back as these next turns play out.
Somehow the Shaman deck it hangs in there early game and then it takes over with these legendaries. I'm very impressed.
All right, he plays the Knife Juggler, plays the True Silver Champion.
Goes for the Lucky Juggle again.
Gets a 33% roll again.
Well, you know, Jorduno keeps up this luck. He may just win this match.
All right, he gets the Juggle on the Wrath of Air Totem, which might help him next turn. But I think once again we're going to see another Fire Elemental come down. Clearing out these cards. I mean, at this point, Lightning Storm actually might be a better...
all right. Now,
if you like
the only thing I worry about with the Lightning Storm is you haven't seen any musters yet. Muster Quartermaster would be devastating if you're out of Lightning Storm.
Absolutely. He's only got 2 cards in his hand. The quality's been in there for quite a while. But removing the whole board, at that point, you can play Healbot. You're up a whole bunch of cards. I really do like that play. You could even play Zombie Chow and Totem just to try to eat up his True Silver charges here.
I don't really see a bad option in his hand. All of these would be pretty devastating to Jorduno right now.
Well, Dr. Boom might not be the best play. He would be able to actually remove that quite well. Might even be able to use the Ironbeak Owl to stop one of the bombs from dealing a whole lot of damage. Equality, of course, would absolutely destroy Dr. Boom play.
Ragnaros is still worse, though, to Equality, I think. Just trades with that 1-1.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, he's going to play both the Chow and the Dr. Boom. Picks up the Sword of Justice. That's actually going to help a little bit against this Dr. Boom. I would expect to see the Equality and Sword of Justice go out here. The only question that's going to be asked, does he play the Ironbeak Owl? First Juggle goes out on the bomb, which takes out the Knife Juggler, making it unable to hit. I think that was a little bit of a risk.
Backfired.
Yeah. He's going to have to use his True Silver Champion here if he wants to get this Sword of Justice out.
Unfortunately, only going to get 2 health out that Zombie Chow instead of the normal 5.
Is Boombot going to be able to clear out this Shrinkmeister, possibly kill the 1-1? I think if it does that, Ragnaros is a really great play. At this point, the equality is burned. You can start getting the face damage, start getting the minions cleared every turn. I don't think you can go wrong with that.
If it clears board, certainly. You don't know that he doesn't have the second equality, but if he has to hit into Ragnaros, you're happy.
A lot of decks actually not running that second equality. And Jorduno, one of the few people who is. Ragnaros going to go to face here. And right now, there aren't a lot of options. Ooh, Muster for Battle. This is actually pretty good pickup. It's going to be able to force the Ragnaros to have only a 25% chance to hit face. All those little minions, not a very good, valuable target for him to hit with that. So he's going to go to face so that he doesn't waste his weapon. He's actually going to play Sword of Justice with Muster for Battle, I believe. Well,
It's a very good combination. Gets a lot of power on the board immediately the turn you play the sword.
now, we, of course, know that in doing this, he's only setting himself up for a Lightning Storm. He's losing not only the Sword of Justice, he's losing the Muster for Battle. He's also losing a charge of True Silver. So that Lightning Storm is basically getting 3 cards for 1, minus the Lights Justice.
And there's the BM right there, the well played, already coming out from Sid. Now, this is what holding the Lightning Storm was so great for, was waiting for that muster. And boy, did he bait it here.
Totem's up first, plays the Antique Healbot, playing this turn in a very specific order to crush the hope of Jorduno.
And then the rag shot goes face.
I don't think there's a way Jorduno can come back. Piloted Sky Golem comes out. And it's going to help him against Ragnaros potentially here. He is going to be able, though, to clear out the first part of that with his 3/3 and 1/1. I would have liked to have seen him actually hit the 1/1 totem there to prevent that. Couple Earth Shocks, of course, going to stop the Piloted Sky Golem from being able to get any value. The Fire Elemental plus Earth Shock going to absolutely end that.
No reason to hold 2 Earth Shocks for Tyrion. So yeah, that's a great play to go for right now.
He is just short of lethal. I believe 2 damage short of lethal right now with his current hand. He's got 8 from Ragnaros, which is not necessarily guaranteed. 3 more, brings him up to 11. 3 from Rock Fighter, 3 from Fire Elemental. Not quite enough.
I like just controlling the board here. No reason to hurry.
All right. Shielded Minibot comes up, and of course that's going to lock up game number 2 for Sid and end this series. Jorduno going to commit seppuku here.
Mm-hmm.
And Sid takes the game. Shaman 2-0ing Jorduno.
That's exactly what it feels like to play Paladin against that deck. Horrible. I think the Rogue would have been the better choice. We'll see if anyone else can match it in the finals.
Absolutely. I think that Shaman deck is built to counter very specific decks. Very specific decks that we are going to see from almost all the players. So the question is, the question on every player's mind's got to be, is he going to pick the Shaman deck, or is he going to pick something else? If he picks the Shaman, he could play. Sid could play Mind Games at this point, and prevent Jorduno, for any of their opponents, from just being able to play anything.
Right. So now we've got to wait on. Oh, Cranks is here. That's good news. We were waiting on him to do his semifinal, and it looks like he's here.
So this isn't going to be the last we see of Jorduno. He is going to go into the 3rd place match after this next match. So we'll have to see if he can pull out a win in that bracket. Now, going to our prizes, Sid is now guaranteed to get 1st or 2nd place in the tournament. Sid will be playing against the winner of this next match. 1st place, to remind you of the prizes, 1st place is getting 40 Blizz bucks and $10 Amazon gift card. 2nd place is getting 40 Blizz bucks. So one of those prizes guaranteed for Sid. And 3rd place, 20 Blizz bucks and 10 Amazon. So it looks like that's what Jorduno is going to be playing for. That's what Sid's going to be playing for.
It's great prizes. Will make all our matches exciting for sure. 3rd place, nothing or 30. That'll be a great match.
So looking at these decks here for Day Job and Cranks, what do you think Day Job is going to pick first out of his decks? He's got a Handlock. It's called Mech Handlock, Legend, Paladin, and a Warrior.
You might be able to throw them off with the warrior. He's got a very interesting one. I'd like to see that. That'd be my personal preference.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot going on for handlock in the current meta. I believe that it's kind of a weaker. It's gone on a weaker tier. It's too slow to fight against the mech decks. Um, you really have to tech it perfectly to fight them, and at that point, it just turns out to not be handlock anymore. So I would like to see. Yeah, I would agree. I'd like to see that as well. What about for? What would you like to see for Cranks here? He's got a Paladin deck. He's got a Warlock deck. He's also got a Shaman deck.
Again, just what I want to see is the Demon Lock here. I think that's the only one I've seen in this tournament. So, love to see that.
With how well Shaman's been doing so far in all of these games, I kind of want to see the Shaman deck. It's got a very exciting legendary inside of it. It's got Pluton. So if we can see that, I think it's going to be pretty cool. Let's see what Murlocs he gets out of it. We are going into the second series here. First game with Ryle, aka Day Job, versus Cranks. And it looks like it's going to be the handlock. Or is this the handlock? No. Yes, this is the handlock versus the Paladin deck.
This is an interesting matchup. I haven't really played it much to know who's favored in this.
Well, right now,
Purifier's not going to hit anything.
With BGHs and equalities, it's really tough to say that the handlock has the ability to stay in the game. If there are silences in the Paladin deck, typically that is the deciding factor. The interesting card here in Dayjob's deck, of course, is Recombobulator. Recombobulator can be used on the Giants to bring them back to full health.
Talked about this a little earlier and thought maybe Earthen's better because you can heal yourself as well as your Giants, but it may pay off. We're going to see.
Right, you don't typically see a lot of people running the Recombobulator anymore. Another good use for it might be the Ancient Healbot, the Antique Healbot, rather, which it can possibly bring it up to a better 5/5. He's going to start out with the Knife Juggler. Most handlocks' only answer to that is Dark Bomb. We don't have that in Dayjob's hand, so we're going to see the Owl go out.
It's interesting. With the Mountain Giant in hand, I would have thought he'd maybe keep tapping to get that out early. Decides to go with the Owl.
Right. The Owl will counter the Knife Juggler in this case, but it's a pretty risky play. If he had Muster for Battle, it's almost a perfect answer to that Owl. You're also losing the Owl for Tyrion. You're losing it for Sylvanas. I'm not sure I agree with this play.
Piloted it's interesting, too, not giving up the Knife Juggler instead of True Silvering there. Dropping the Piloted Shredder.
True Silvering a 2/1, not exactly the best value. You know your Knife Juggler's dead. You at this point, you kind of just got to accept it and go on here. You've got a True Silver coming up to counter any of the other plays that he might use. Ooh, he's going to send the Owl to face, or he's considering it. I bet he's considering the Recombobulator here.
Trying to get some creative use out of it. It's not bad on the Owl.
Well, I do think it's a little bit greedy. You're going to be trading with that Knife Juggler whether you use the Recombobulator on it or not, and possibly worse if a True Silver Champion comes down. So,
again, I'd like to see a tap here so he can work on that Mountain Giant.
He does tap, which is going to enable the Mountain Giant next turn. Recombobulator brings out a Ship's Cannon. Ship's Cannon,
basically the same trade as was already on the board.
Exactly, except now with the True Silver Champion, he's no longer going to get that same value out of that minion. Piloted Shredder going to be able to take it out by itself, not die, won't lose the Shredder part, helps against AoE. I would consider that to be a pretty serious mistake. Now with the True Silver, True Silver and the Piloted Shredder both out, the Mountain Giant actually is contested before he even gets it out on the board.
Hurts to tank that hit, but it's worth it at this point to get that Mountain Giant off the board.
All right, he's got the Lay on Hands in his hand, so as long as he survives turn 8, he knows he's going to be able to survive. I think he's absolutely going to do that. Doesn't really have a good play though in his hand. I would say that Scarlet Purifier might even be a good card to play here, and a Dude. But not playing Scarlet Purifier, of course, not very good when you know there are going to be Sludge Belchers coming.
Reporting for duty.
Would be very interested in seeing how long he continues damaging face. If he goes all out YOLO, or if he has any fear of the Molten Giants. Which you always have to be aware of against Handlock.
Now, Dayjob is going to be able to clear the board here. He can either use Owl and Shadow Flame or Recombobulator Shadow Flame. Because he has 2 Shadow Flames, I'd like to see that play. He's just got to try to get caught up and bide some time so he can actually build his quality cards in the deck.
I would not play that muster with both Quartermasters waiting. I like throwing out the Scarlet Purifier, maybe.
Well, he just played a Shadow Flame, so playing that muster may be able to fill up a board that's not going to get AoE'd. That would give him 12 damage next turn. Not quite enough for lethal. So, yeah. But
Yeah.
what else? I mean, what else are you going to play here?
I wonder.
Scarlet and a Hero Power, it is a little bit slow, but I like saving that muster with the double Quartermaster in hand.
All right, looks like you are correct. This is going to contest any sort of Sludge Belcher. Ooh, first Molten. First Molten can be very...
Huge pickup.
Oh, second Molten.
He's got... Does he have 2 taunt minions in hand already, too? Yep. This game is turning around.
Might be able to get some great value with those. One could be a good Shadow Flame target. They both would be great for putting a taunt up. And it looks like a Zombie Chow pickup not going to be all that helpful. Still 1 turn too early for the Muster for Battle Quartermaster turn. This is the problem. This is one of the problems with running 2 Quartermasters. Sometimes you end up with both in your hand, and when that happens, you just might not be able to utilize them.
This is a pretty obvious setup for Quartermaster here. We'll see if Dayjob clears. Oh!
But once
Hellfire.
again, picking up an excellent card. Hellfire going to go out here. Those Quartermasters are just going to be dead cards in his hand.
Just sitting there.
I think going to play both Molten Giants. This is a little weak to equality, but we of course know that Crank does not have the equality. He's going to have to fish for survival, and right now he's staring down lethal.
Yep. I almost think he had to lay on hands there. Just he needs equality to clear these Moltens. No other way he's doing it.
Well, the good news with this play is he does get to buy himself a little bit of time to draw that with the Sludge Belcher. Oh, but with the Owl, that is of course going to be lethal. Looks like Lay on Hands might have helped him survive. So, Dayjob is going to take game number 1 against Crank.
Those Molten Giants and then the Hellfire came at the perfect time. Completely swung that game.
Now, Crank's got a tough choice here. His next game is either going to be with Shaman or Warlock. His Warlock deck, of course, that more demon-oriented deck.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I feel like Shaman's pretty strong against these handlock types. You got Earth Shock. He's got Earth Shocks for the Twilight Drakes. He's got Hexes for the Giants. I really do think that's the way to go.
It was the old-time counter to Handlock for sure, and I think he should definitely go with it. It's done very well in this tournament as well. Shaman has to be the pick if I was in his seat.
And it turns out he did actually pick Shaman. We are going into game 2 here. It is Handlock versus the Shaman. Both hands right now actually looking pretty average. The Shaman has the Earth Shock. He's got the Hex. That's going to be able to counter some early game. But he doesn't really have another minion to play out. The Handlock going to probably need to throw out some of these cards. If Dayjob doesn't know that this is a more mid-rangey Shaman and thinks it to be more of a mech Shaman, I think he's going to keep that Dark Bomb.
Yeah, it's a very good keep against the Mech Shaman. The Ancient Watcher, if he keeps that, I'm interested to see.
Wow, actually keeps the Defender of Argus as well.
That would be the least likely. Yeah, I would have thrown the Defender.
All right, picks up the Twilight Drake. We, of course, know that that's going to be pretty easy for Crank to counter. Turns here are going to go by pretty slowly. Ancient Watcher. He's considering just putting the Ancient Watcher out. He doesn't really have a good activator for it. Defender Argus a little bit too slow.
I like tapping into more options. Of course, Crank has the answer to either big turn 4 play from Handlock. He has Hex for Giant or Earthshock for Drake. So it's looking good for Shaman already.
Looks like he is just going to totem up. He's not going to play the Annoyatron, not going to coin out the Harvest Golem. I'd probably agree with that. Annoyatron's just a little bit too slow right now. Probably not worth throwing out there against a possible Earthen Ring Farseer. All right, so if you are Day Job, which do you pick, the Mountain Giant or the Twilight Drake?
I choose the Giant because it has to have Hex as an answer. Twilight Drake, either Hex or Earthshock works. You're not happy with hexing a Twilight Drake, but you can.
All right, looks like he opts for the same play. I think it's interesting because Twilight Drake playing first means you can tap and Giant the next turn. Ooh, he gets the second Giant. I think it's definitely going to go down here. Oh!
The VM. Yeah, the Giant top decks have been just killing it for Handlock. Now, all of a sudden, Crank's in trouble.
Well, he does have a multi-turn answer to this. He can get the Rock Biter and the Fire Elemental to work together with the Harvest Golem to take that out. That is using just the Harvest Golem's body and the Rock Biter, so he doesn't waste all his cards. Defender of Argus going to go out. Another pretty good option. That doesn't allow him this turn to really take care of the Mountain Giant.
He's going to try and take care of it right now. Earthshock and the Rock Spider?
Yeah, he's going to spend a lot of cards to take this out. He's losing the Battle Cry from the Defender of Argus. He's losing the Earthshock, which is great against Twilight Drake, and the Harvest Golem's buffed body.
He's going all in on killing the Giant, and he has no answers left for the rest of the Warlock's deck.
Right, I absolutely do not agree with that play. Handlock has a bunch of options here. The board's not all that threatening. He's going to go ahead and tap. And take his time.
As many options as he can have. There's the 410.
Right, he saw the Earthshock, so he knows. The odds of the other Earthshock, not very high. With a 410 on the board.
Earthshock down.
Yes, with 410 on the board, what do? You don't have enough damage in your hand to answer this. Is it time to go face and hope he doesn't have a way to stop it?
It is time to go face. The question is with what? With the Fire Elemental or the Power Mace, maybe a Noyatron here?
I'd like to see the Power. Yeah, I'd like to see the Power Mace and Noyatron here. Dr. Boom will be available next turn. You're saving your Fire Elemental for that last 3 damage to get through those taunts. Might be able to even...
It is good to have that direct damage.
He might be able to combo that with a Crackle. Alright, he's sending in his minions to this.
I don't know if he has that much experience playing against Handlock because, boy, trying to go card for card against that full hand up there is rough.
He's basically spent so many cards just to try to remove 2 different minions. One of those cards actually being the perfect counter to this the last turn against the Molten Giant. At this point, the world is the Handlock's oyster. It appears... I mean, geez, there's so many options here. You can pretty much do anything. He's going to Dark Bomb the Totem. I guess at this point, you kind of have the liberties to do that.
You have to play something. It's not overdraw. He's going for more cards.
All right, so he's going to play the Ancient Watcher. He knows that the Power Mace is going to be able to take out his Twilight Drake. The Ancient Watcher doesn't have a silence for it. The owl, one of the owls, would be helpful to get that going. He can put a Defender of Argus on it, but that's not really going to stop Dr. Boom here.
A buffed boom bot. Don't see that every day.
All right. He's got the Siphon Soul to counter the first part of Dr. Boom. This might bring Crank a little bit back into the game here. Other options, I don't really see any. I would definitely like to see the Siphon Soul, maybe even the Dark Bomb going out on that boom bot.
Problem that Crank is starting to run into is he doesn't have spells in hand, so how's he going to finish this Warlock? It's tough.
Well, the good news is he's got 4 cards in hand. He's got boom bots on the board. It's like a 5th card. The Handlock has a total of 9 cards. Handlock's drawn now 3 more cards, but was 4 more cards. So in terms of value, they're not that far off. In the long game, it's really up to whether... Really, the question's going to be, does the Handlock draw the answers? He is going to Fire Elemental the Ancient Watcher, just try to get it off the board. Make sure there's no funny business like Shadow Flames going on there. I expect to see a Totem coming up here with that. Does play the Annoyatron. When you're running out of cards like this, I feel like you need to Totem every turn. Try to get as much value as you can out of that.
It'd be nice to Totem at the same time. I think he's got a time limit here, knowing that the Handlock's going to draw his whole deck in short order.
Ooh, Kel'Thuzad. Actually, Kel'Thuzad most likely going to go down here. He will be able to
play here.
Absolutely, he will be able to recycle all of his minions doing this. If the bomb, but the Boombot does clear out the Fire Elemental by itself, so he's not going to be able to recycle that Fire Elemental. It is going to take 2 damage. It might not matter though. There is no answer in the Handlock's hand for this Kel'Thuzad. So what was once a very one-sided game has turned around this quickly.
Trading with the Fire Elemental is smart too. Prevents the Giants from coming down, both of them this turn.
At this point, there is no answer to the Kel'Thuzad. Of Hellfire plus Dark Bomb is going to only be able to deal 6 damage to it, and it is going to actually bring the Boombot and the Fire Elemental back again. So he's going to have to find a different option here. At this point, I think you're just going to have to wait, dig it out, tap here, get a heal bot down, hope you find your second Siphon Soul if you've got it. He doesn't, of course, have that. Maybe try to find your Shadow Flame then.
All his plays feel pretty awful because the Fire Elemental is going to be able to trade. They all have 3 attack. Besides the Defender of Argus, which you don't want to play by itself.
Right. You just need to... There's only one answer. You need to find your Silence or your Shadow Flame. It does find the Silence, the top decks. Now, let's keep in mind, Handlock gets good top decks because it's constantly drawing cards. So it's... You might call it luck, but the fact of the matter is, he's got the advantage when it comes to picking up the answers.
Yep, when you draw twice as many cards as the opponent.
Shaman going to be 4 damage short of lethal. A Crackle here actually would be lethal. Flame Tongue Totem actually would be lethal as well. So the Shaman is going to pick up game 2 if he can find the lethal here.
Gotta play the Fire Elemental and the Flame Tongue here.
Man, Handlock had all the answers, but Kel'Thuzad single-handedly turning down the game. He's going to pick up extra damage from the Boombot BM. This actually does not reveal the second, the Fire Elemental in his hand, so it's a little more creative. It's nice to see that. All right, so Shaman.
It's that exciting card you talked about.
So Shaman going to have to go against either Warrior or Paladin in the next and final game in the series here.
This is an interesting choice because he's got that unconventional Warrior.
Yes, the unconventional Warrior against this Shaman deck, or against the Shaman deck, I think it's got a chance.
I do too. You can take the board, take the tempo, prevent those Flame Tongue plays, and whatnot.
All right, we are going to be jumping immediately into game number 3 here, the final game in the semifinals for Vie Cup 2015. For those of you joining us, we're here with myself, Eliegel, and Morrigan. We are looking to complete the semifinals here. this starting mulligan for Crank, not very strong.
So far, everyone when their back's against the wall is going with the control paladin. Here we see it again.
Ooh, I do like this opening hand though for the paladin. He's got both the zombie chow and the Aldor Peacekeeper. Aldor might be a later game play, but it could prove to be pretty strong.
Guarantees you don't lose the early game.
Power Mace, excellent pickup on the top deck last turn. This is going to allow him to remove pretty much any minion the Paladin can throw down and buff the Annoyatron the turn after.
He waited to play the mech until he could actually buff, so we'll see if he does that same thing again, where he waits for the second hit of the weapon to play Annoyatron.
The Lightning Storm is going to be great against any muster plays, probably going to get saved for that. I'd expect to see the Power Mace go out here. Swinging at the 1/1 is okay use for it. However, the Power Mace will be completely consumed with no minions coming out from the Paladin. I think we're just going to see another dude and pass here.
Interesting play would be to hold the Mace charge. Wouldn't mind that too much.
Right now, it's really just a question of, do you want your how much do you value that Annoyatron's Divine Shield? Is it worth the 3 damage? And you might say, yeah, it's about equal. The Annoyatron Shield is exactly 3 damage when it gets buffed by that Mace. With a Muster for Battle, though, it would have been pretty dangerous to have that Annoyatron come out like that. We're going to see the Sludge Belcher come out with the coin. That is going to counter the Annoyatron pretty well. Not a whole lot of options here for the Shaman.
I think it's crackle time.
Might be hoping for the luck. It's a 50-50 on whether or not that crackle can take out the first part of that Sludge Belcher. The other option, of course, being... Oh, he's going for it? And it's a 3. 3 is still not bad. He can still trade the Divine Shield out. The Healing Totem going to stop the slime by itself. Of course, this opens up to True Silver, but we know the Paladin does not have the True Silver. He is just going to play some minions here just to start developing the board. The Shielded Minibot and Aldor going to set up for a Sylvanas Dr. Boom play, turn of plays coming up next. Lightning Storm, not very great with that Divine Shield out here. What about Defender of Argus in this position? Looks like Morrigan is muted or lost his mic here, so we'll be getting him back here in a moment. I believe that there's going to be Defender going down here. It lets him trade out a lot of pieces on the board here. He can get rid of the Shielded Minibot. He can keep 2 of his minions alive. The heal is going to go off and heal both of his minions. Although the Aldor Peacekeeper going to be able to take the Annoyatron for free. We do know that Sylvanas is coming and Dr. Boom is coming. So
that's what I was hoping to see from the Shaman there, that Defender play and get the Healing Totem to do work.
All right. Sylvanas hovering there. I think he's thinking about it. The other option, of course, being Shredder and Hero Power for a good to fit the curve. He could also Muster and Hero Power for a good curve. It's pretty susceptible to Lightning Storm.
Let me think.
Sylvanas a little less susceptible to that. Equality would be a very interesting play. Maybe he's just bluffing right now. Kind of throwing out some cards. All right, looks like he's...
Wow.
Going to use the Equality and use the weapon from the Muster to take out the 1/1 totem. I don't know if he's scared of Bloodlust or something else, but it seems like he really wants to get that board clear before Dr. Boom comes out. I expect to see Lightning Storm go down here, and it does. He's worried about Quartermaster. We know that Ryle, or Dayjob, doesn't have the Quartermaster in this case, but never too safe. Oh, Quartermaster does come from the top deck, though. Would be interesting to look back at this play and see if Quartermaster would have been the better play compared to Dr. Boom. I think it probably would have been. had the minion stayed on the board.
Yeah.
Now, right now, there's no way to actually clear the Boom himself from the board. So there's going to be 7 damage coming in to Crank here in the next turn. It's really just a question of, do we remove these Boom bots now?
I try and preserve my minions here for the KT. It's so juicy if you can get that out next turn with minions on board.
Yeah, I'd really like to see that Fire Elemental just go straight to Dr. Boom. Prepare for the... if he goes for the greedy play and doesn't trade into the Fire Elemental, you've got the Lightning Storm, or you've got Kel'Thuzad to bring back your Fire Elemental. With the tournament on the line, sometimes... Ooh. Calls it a mistake. I wonder what he's thinking about, why he thinks that's a mistake.
Sorry that happened.
He could have run both Boombots into the Fire Elemental. It would have made it a 50-50 twice to roll 3 damage on it. I don't know that that's very likely. Does run the Boombot into it. He rolls a 2. He probably thinks it's a mistake because of the Light's Justice. He could have taken out the minion with that. Oh, all right. So
he was trying not to trade, and he doesn't trade.
By not trading, he is going to get Lightning Storm. This board is going to get cleared, and we're going to see another minion go down, and the Shaman is going to take control of the board. And not only that,
Was a mistake.
be pretty close on cards. Oh, mistakes? Going back and forth
it
here
out.
with the emotes.
Great swing. He gets a minion on board with the clear board.
With the Boombot hitting for 3, that's not going to change much here. I think that we're going to see the Piloted Shredder, the Totem, the Fire Elemental's Battle Cry, a little too valuable to just blow on a 27 health Paladin.
Yep. This game's still far from over. That lay on hands is sitting there pretty, though.
Well, we know that no matter what card is played by Dayjob, it's going to get crushed by a Kel'Thuzad, and that Piloted Shredder is going to actually be able to come back alive.
To arms, men!
Shredders are some of the best minions for Kel'Thuzad.
Well, there is a tough choice here. If Kel'Thuzad comes down, there's going to be 6 damage on the board, which means that Kel'Thuzad could be cleared by a Consecrate. But I still think it's the better play. You get another Shredder, and you get whatever comes out of that Shredder. Ooh, picks up the... Oh, this could be okay. Micro Machine, probably one of the worst options. The Quartermaster, be able to trade that out pretty easily.
It's also very vulnerable to Consecrate.
Right. At this point, because you got that weaker minion, Fire Elemental might be the better play.
It's still a tough call. You want to get that Shredder back, get another minion out of it.
Very true. We're going to have to wait and see what he does. So Kel'Thuzad brings back a Shredder. The Shredder's going to be able to get another minion. Fire Elementals are going to be able to actually clear the Knife Juggler, though. Which is what he chooses to do.
Now.
Goes with
See if
that.
that pays off in the end, if he can get a good KT off later. Or if that was his chance.
And here we are with the second Quartermaster again. Having both of those, it's tough. It's only a 2-5 for 5. Very difficult to make that work. Big Game Hunter not going to see a lot of value here. Shredder going to go down, which is going to allow the Fire Elemental to be destroyed by 2 of the minions on the board. I
But
don't
not
think it's-
any in a single turn, so he can't really make a KT play here.
Very true. Looks like he's just going to go with the Lotheb Healbot play. I don't know if I agree with the Healbot. 16 damage from a Paladin. Not very likely with the board that's there. I would have liked to see the Shredder go down.
To arms, men!
Yeah. Shredder would be great for setting up the KT as well.
And because of that, because of that play, he is going to be able to trade out the Antique Healbot and the Fire Elemental here. If the Shredder was down, there would be a remnants of the Shredder left.
I was thinking about getting the freebie and the Healing Totem, but no, decides to trade with the Healbot.
Right, I have to agree with that. You got to be worried. Well, you've seen both Lightning Storms go out at this point. Or was that
Yep.
last? So yeah, you've seen both Lightning Storms go out, so you're not too concerned about that for your minions. You are the concern though is Lotheb and your other minion. There's some more efficient trades that can be made with 3/3.
Unfortunately, that Healing Totem's going to keep doing work on the Lotheb here.
Right. Oh, picks up the muster after using the second Quartermaster. That's a little bit unfortunate for Day Job here. It's going to be really tough to clear this board. There's nothing you can do right now. Kel'Thuzad probably going to come out again next turn and absolutely win it for him.
Reporting for duty.
KT is going to be a very strong play here. The question is if he's scared of inequality. Nothing else is stopping him here.
Well, at this point, with Doomhammer, he's got 13 damage. He's still far off lethal, but Doomhammer will allow him to do quite a bit of clearing here. I bet you he's still going to play the Kel'Thuzad, though.
Here it comes.
Much better option. Shielded Minibot, an excellent pickup off the Shredder. One of the best minions he could have gotten against this board.
Certainly an improvement off the Micro Machine.
So Lothab and Piloted Shredder going to come back. Equality nowhere to be seen. Lay on Hands might have a chance to pick it up.
Yep. I think you have to go for it at this point.
You do have the ability to kill Kel'Thuzad here, but at that point you are pretty much setting
Yeah, how do you
yourself
deal with
up.
the rest of that board?
Yeah. Now, did he use his only equality at this point? I actually don't remember. So might actually have two equalities in this deck, so yeah, I would have liked to see the lay
The
on
Lay
hands.
on Hands.
There, yeah.
So, like, decides to not even use it at all. Hero Power instead of Lay on Hands.
All right, well, the Doomhammer going to go out here. The minions are going to get cleared. Now there's no... Without all the minions on the board, equality would be... have no value here.
Right, it doesn't do anything now.
And at this point, he is set up for lethal next turn. Lay on Hands going to bring him out of lethal range, but probably delaying the inevitable. He needs to pick up some kind of board clear combo at this point.
That poor Big Game's just been stuck in hand with nothing to do all game.
Black Knight there, of course, having absolutely no value against this board. It can get the Stone Claw, but that's not what's threatening you. Azure Drake gives him a chance to pick up the Rockbiter for the win. Picks up Hex. He's going to go
Got all the answers.
He's going all into face. So, with probably no card that can save him at this point, I believe Crank is going to take this. Consecration does get picked up. I don't see a way that can be used to save the day here. He's going to take out the free totem there. Swing at the 2/2. Consecrate. But
Without equality, it just can't clear the board.
is this going to save him? At this point, we of course know that even the Sludge Belcher not going to be enough to save him. Crank is going to be our winner in the semifinals here for V Cup 2015.
Great match.
I really think a couple of early misplays cost the Shaman, or cost the Paladin the game. Those double Quartermasters, though. Oh, that muster coming in.
Yeah, throwing it out before the muster.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Did he have to do that at that point? Could the Shaman have had lethal?
Of course, we know he didn't have much burn in that deck at all, but he couldn't have known that.
All right, so both Sid and... Oh gosh, I forget who won. It was Day Job. No, it was Crank. was the
It was
Shaman.
Crank with
It
the
was
Shaman.
Crank. Okay.
Shaman's still undefeated today.
Sid and Crank going to go into the finals match. Of course, before we get to that match, we are going to see the third place match between Jorduno and Dayjob. I'm interested to see if this Shaman, the Shaman trend continues. I think neither of these guys has the Shaman deck, so we are going to be able to see a couple different matchups going into this.
Yeah, we're going to see another class take this match, be the hero.
All right, while we get these players set up here.
All right. Well, while that game's going, what do you guys think he could have done better in that last match? Let's talk about that last match.
All right. Well, in the last match, what it came down to was that lay on hands play, trying to draw the equality. Had he done that, he would have at least given himself a chance to draw. Now, we of course saw the lay on hands go out, and no equality was present. Saving that quartermaster for the muster would have been good for the paladin. Really, that's kind of what it came down to. Saving the KT, I think, was a critical play on the Shaman's part. By not playing it on that earlier turn, he was able to recover not only the Lotheb, but the Piloted Shredder. Whereas if he played it earlier, it would have been the Piloted Shredder and a different minion.
It would have been just the Piloted Shredder. So yeah, saving that paid off, and then the lay on hands. I think he was trying to get the full 8 heal from it, and so kept holding it in hand, but getting it off earlier to try and get equality could have really helped.
All right, we're going to get these players set up. So don't go anywhere.
And what do you guys think has been the strongest game so far today? Like, who do you think between, what do you think they have to worry about playing each other this next round?
So I still like Jorduno's deck lists a lot. So I think Dayjob has to be scared of just the lists themselves. And then between the other two guys, I mean, I haven't seen Sid's Shaman lose a game, so I'd give him the favorite in that.
All right, so Jorduno going into this next match against Dayjob. What deck is Jorduno going to want to open with? He opened with the Mage and got crushed by the Shaman. Is that going to impact his decision here?
I think it might. Playing the Mage against the Handlock can be pretty scary, activating those Moltens early. I might try the Rogue. He hasn't tried the Rogue yet, and we both thought it's a great deck for him to run. Love to see the Rogue from Jorduno.
Right now in the latest meta reports that we've seen on Reddit and on Tempo Storm and some other sites, it was like we haven't actually seen a Hunter in this tournament, but it's at the top. But Oil Rogue is still number 2 on there. So yeah, I think it's the better opening right now. It's probably the better deck at the moment.
Yeah.
So what about for Dayjob? He's got Handlock, he's got Paladin, he's got Warrior. We didn't see the Warrior in the last set.
I would go with what he just won with. Try and keep the momentum going with the Paladin. Or no, he won his first match with the Handlock last game, or didn't he? It's a tough pick for him. I don't know what to pick from his decks, really. I'd still loving to see that Warrior. I want to see the Aggro Warrior.
Yeah, absolutely. The Aggro Warrior, of course. And very exciting deck. Some surprises in there that might throw most players off.
Seeing it against Rogue would be really interesting, too.
All right, Ryle, and we got Dayjob, we got Jorduno. They're set up, and we're going into the bronze match. It looks like Giorduno has heard the call of the rogue.
All right.
And we're going to be going against Paladin. Now, Paladin against Rogue. Interesting matchup. Rogue's interested in burning him down, getting as much damage out, but the Paladin has all those heals to get through.
Boy, Rogue tends to be favored in this matchup, though, because it has such high burst. And the Rogue's just my favorite deck in general, so I'm loving that we're getting to see this in this match. And he's got the charge version. We can already see the South Sea deckhand, so the burst will be real.
Now, Lay on Hands is the 8-mana card, so the healing just doesn't come until later. And most Paladins, because they have that, don't run the heal bot. So healing often doesn't come in time.
Right, and if you use 8 mana on that, you often can't clear the minion that got Tinkered Oiled, and you're still in a whole bunch of trouble.
All right. Giorduno's hand, of course, looking pretty good for Rogue right now. He's got the Deadly Poison. That's one of the main things you want to see against Paladin. He's got Earthen Ring Farseer, which also helps out in the early game. I think we're going to see a dagger, and these dudes are just going to get cleared out.
Yep. No problem for the Rogue.
Now, in a 30-turn game, if it's just hero powers, the Rogue does eventually lose to the Paladin 1 damage at a time.
He does have some healing in here. We see the Earthen already, but yeah, that hero power does take damage over time.
All right, Zombie Chow coming out. I bet you we're going to see a Redagger and a Poison come out here. He's kind of got to get that cleared out so that he is able to play Earthen Rings and other things. Without a clear board, you can't really get a lot of value out of your weapon oil.
That's interesting. I don't know that I would have rushed it there. Try to get more value out of the Zombie Chow heal.
All right, not much of a board here. The Paladin's hand full of answers. He's probably a little bit afraid of Fan of Knives here. So the Muster for Battle, not a very strong option. And it, of course, conflicts with True Silver Champion as well. So we are going to see the Dude pass. Got the equality for any big minions. Fan of Knives, of course, comes out next.
Great top deck. You kind of want to save it for Muster, but that's greedy here. Get that card draw.
Yep, you got to cycle this deck. You need minions to actually put the oil on. And right now, it doesn't look like he's got much of that. That South Sea deckhand not going to do 30 damage by himself.
Nope. Oh, and there's that Muster. After the Fan of Knives.
All right, well, Wicked Knife buffed up to a 3-1 weapon for the Rogue, making Blade Flurry able to clear a play by the Quartermaster. But he's going to go ahead and use it this turn. This is going to allow him to get that critical minion out to get that weapon oil on.
Would have been interesting to hold for the Quartermaster, bait the Quartermaster out, but it would have been a lot of damage he'd be taking as well.
With a 4 durability Lights Justice here, playing that True Silver is going to be pretty painful, so he does opt to go with the Outdoor Peacekeeper, play the Zombie Chow here, just get a board out, just working on board control.
The Rogue finally had a minion that sticks. We'll see if that cues the oil or not.
Looks like he is going to attack. He's got the second Blade Flurry here, which is critical when you're going with the oil kill, but there still just aren't a lot of answers in the hand here. He's got both his preps. He doesn't have his Eviscerates. He doesn't have his other Deadly Poison or his SI7 agents. So it's just going to be just very difficult for him to remove this.
It's so spell heavy. He needs to draw into a Sprint or an Auctioneer for those preps. Sit on double prep.
8 cards in hand. Sprint, of course, would overdraw him.
He could play a lot, though, with those preps.
Right.
Play a lot
so
of cards.
He should. Yeah, he'd probably have to throw the coin out and ride on that. Let's see what comes up. Antique Healbot can provide absolutely no help here. I probably would end up stabbing that 1/1, playing that Antique Heal. Playing that Antique Healbot, and
yeah, just stay alive right now. Stay alive, try and draw into that card draw. He needs desperately to get minions.
Go home, Eliegel, you're drunk. All right. He's got the True Silver for this.
Land hand's a big pickup for later if he does take damage.
Yep. Tyrion going to go down. Not a very strong play against Sap, but really he is without options, and at 30 health, or 27 health in this case. You might as well.
And sap is
Up
just
sap.
delay. If he never plays minions, then eat the sap. Absolutely, replay it.
So what do you think here about Azure Drake stabbing, getting that weapon oil out with prep, and using the Blade Flurry with the other prep? Is that a winning play?
Go ahead and give him the Ashbringer. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. He's going with the Shiv, so he's gonna try to get more of this board out of here.
And keeps drawing cards. Finally gets a minion.
Ooh, it looks like he's got the Cobalt Geomancer replacement for Blood Mage Thalanos, which is of course not a true one-to-one replacement. Typically, card draw ends up being the better option to add in its place.
That's a better option, but it does get additional attack and health. It's not terrible.
Reporting for duty.
Gonna play the Loatheb here, try to prevent any kind of wombo combo from taking out all 27 health. Double oil and a Blade Flurry actually might have produced that kind of damage.
Yeah, smart heads up. When your Tyrion gets sapped, you get a little worried.
So right now, got a pretty easy board clear here. With
Unfortunately,
Phantom
all his cards
Knives.
cost a ton of mana. And so he can't really do spells this turn. Just passes.
well, he could do the Fan of Knives and the South Sea Deckhand and do some interesting creative ways to clear the board there, but he's going to opt to just keep the Azure Drake there. I think at this point he's basically holding on for that deckhand to be 100% of his lethal.
Yeah, he wants the finisher with the deckhand for sure. That play. Now, if the Loatheb goes into the Azure Drake, it does set up the Fan of Knives here.
Yeah, if I was in his position, I would definitely be trading in my weaker minions, because oil, this is an oil rogue, Blade Flurry is the way he clears. Oh, but he chooses not
It's
to do
going to be
that.
a nice fan.
Fan gonna allow him to take that out, but he is gonna have to use his other sap. Now he knows both saps are gone, so Daychop is probably just gonna be playing that Tyrion once again. All right,
Again, we see the well played that might beat BM here, because he knows he's out of saps. So that Tyrion is uncontested now.
All right, if he does play Tyrion here, he isn't going to clear that Kobold. Is the Kobold plus the oil plus the deckhand enough? Unfortunately, so the deckhand can clear the shield. The weapon can Blade Flurry, or the Kobold would actually be able to take out the. No, he wouldn't actually.
Oh, there's the Assassin's Blade. It's key to this deck. Unfortunately, he didn't draw it until way late in this game.
Right, at this point, the only way to remove that Tyrion is to use your dagger in some way to stab it. You could use both your minions to take it out as well, but...
And if he does hit that with his dagger, it's 11 damage this turn, because the Ashbringer is going to whack him right back.
Weapon oil going out first. He can avoid attacking the shield by using Blade Flurry here. I would expect him to run the Cobalt Geomancer into that. He's going to use his other Deadly Poison, Blade Flurry, and at that point he's going to be able to remove the Tyrion without actually hitting it.
Save the mana to get the Salcian attack in. That's smart to always save to redagger.
With 5 health left, it's looking, looking grim for the
He's
Paladin. But
He's out of saps and Blade Flurries, so Sludbelcher should be uncontested here.
he's going to go ahead and use the Consecrate to at least clear out that deckhand, prevent any kind of funny business from going on. And now the Rogue is on a clock. Can he draw the answer? He draws the first piece of what would be the answer. Of course, we do see in the Paladin's hand that Lay on Hands has been there for this long. And it's going to finally come out here in just a moment.
This guy's toast.
What he needed there was to top deck the Azure Drake into an Eviscerate. It's about the only way he was going to get out of this.
At 5 health remaining, are you in both oils? Have both oils been used? Oh, even with both oils used,
I don't think he is running it because he's got the Assassin's Blade.
Right, which means that basically there's no way for this paladin to die at this point. I agree. I think I think he's right. He should equality here, and just clear the board with his minion. Go to face, set up for lethal.
Yeah, that Ashbringer doing him in.
Ooh, Azure Drake, a pretty decent pickup. If he has the answer, he has another chance to get it.
Oh, one turn too late.
Yep.
Would have been
So it
lethal
looks-
last turn.
So it does appear that Dayjob is going to take game 1 in the 3rd place series here. And that's going to leave Jorduno here with an interesting question as to what to play against this paladin. Paladin, his other options here, Paladin and Mage. What do you think?
Seems like a toss-up to me. I think he should just go with what he's more comfortable with. Paladin versus Paladin, he's not really going to have any advantage there. And the Paladin with the Shield of Mini-Bots and the Musters these days can match up well with the Mage. Unless they start getting frozen really early. The Snow Chugger can be big.
Right on. We're going to have to see if he gets that Snow Chugger in his opening hand. We are loading up the game here, going into game 2. And he does end up with both Clockwork Gnomes. That could be pretty helpful in slowing down the Paladin. Of course, Paladin's dudes... Oh, and the Snow Chugger. So he does end up with the Snow Chugger nice and early. But Dayjob picks up the Zombie Chow. It's going to cause some problems here for Jorduno's opening. Noyatron going to block it. And at this point, it's going to be a long road for the mage. Muster for battle going to allow him to clear out that Noyatron. All those minions out there able to clear the Clockwork Gnome this turn. Anything
That's tough. Jorduno's going to have to draw into some higher parts of his curve here, or he's going to run out of cards real fast.
Yeah, at this point, I'd like to see the Spider Tank go down, clear the Zombie Chow out. He's going to have to spend his entire board in that case to remove this board. Oh, he chooses not to do that. That is going to, of course, leave him with one of the 1/1s on the board. And actually, it's going to cause him to leave the Zombie Chow on the board.
Great play, clearing the Mech Mage there.
Right, not trading that Clockwork Gnome into that Zombie Chow has now cost him board position, a great deal of board position. He is going to pick up the Tinkertown Technician. That's going to put a pretty big minion on the board. At this point, there is enough to trade out here. He's going to probably run the Peacekeeper and the 1/1 into that Tinkertown. Hit it with the weapon. Hit the Clockwork with the weapon. Clear the board out here.
That weapon's just such a big deal to get out early in this matchup.
Oh yeah, at the moment and after this turn, it's going to have done 3 damage. He actually decides to hit the 4/4 and keep the 1/1. He doesn't have a Quartermaster in hand, so I don't think this is the right play. I believe he just took an extra 2 damage to the face that he didn't need to take. He might be just trying to get rid of the Zombie Chow, though, so he can start doing face damage.
Powering up. Portals online.
Mech Warper is great for playing a bunch of cards in one turn, but with only one other mech in hand, he doesn't have this big swing that Mech Warper can give.
Picking up the True Silver Champion going to be very good here. He's going to be able to actually get this Snow Chugger off the board, get the Mech Warper clear once again. He knows his opponent has 3 spare parts. That means that from this point on, Mech Mage is just top decking. He is going to go ahead and make sure he doesn't get frozen. That is, of course, going to lock out his Shredder next turn. But if you're the Mech Mage right now, you're running on fumes, hoping for that Antonidas.
Yep, not much the Mech Mage can play in his whole deck, let alone what he has in hand that would survive the True Silver hit next turn.
Yeah, at this point, I think you're going to end up pinging this piloted Shredder. What are some good things that could come out of it for you? It's not a whole lot. Ooh, actually choosing to reversing switch it.
Power up the Mana Worm.
He knows it's frozen, so it's not going to be a threat next turn. But I don't know. Basically, you've just allowed it to live for another whole bunch of turns.
Yeah, with one attack, it can't kill any minion you play, though. You've already played both Clockwork Gnomes.
Alright, Frostbolt, not the pickup he's looking for. He needs Antonidas, 100%. This turn he needed something like Dr. Boom if it's in this deck. I actually don't know if Dr. Boom is in the deck. It does not appear to be. So at this point, we're waiting on one of his bigger minions. Reversing switch there, allowing him to remove the minion. Now, had he removed that piloted Shredder instead of switching it, he actually would have been able to... that would have actually been something else on the board. He wouldn't have been able to take that out. Fireball just going to buy him some more time.
Right. Not the worst top deck, but it doesn't help him get the board back.
Goes ahead and pings face. So at this point, he's pretty much hoping for 2 consecutive fireball draws, which we know can't happen. The lay on
with
hands.
the lay on hands, we know.
Yeah, there's
Not
literally
even range
no.
of that.
Giorduno can do absolutely nothing at this point to win this game. Well, there's the first of the 3 of the now 6 fireballs he needs to win the game. By doing this a turn late, he ends up actually taking extra 7 damage that he didn't need to take.
Unnecessary damage, but he was in a pretty hopeless situation to begin with.
Let me think.
9 mana. I guess he's just going to taunt up. In case of some crazy burst damage, I was running Leroy in my mage version, so it stops that.
Well, actually, that happens to be pretty much his biggest minion. Black Knight being the only other option. And you might as well save that so you can get lethal on a...
Wow!
All right.
Nice portal. No minions to save, unfortunately.
Still, it's the only thing he can play right now. So, Kel'Thuzad going down. You may be lucky with Unstable Portal, but the rest of this game is still going to go on.
Boy, I would have loved to see that Unstable Portal early. It may have turned this game around.
Both Boombots hitting the Kel'Thuzad, allowing the board to trade for it. He could also use his Consecrate to finish it off.
Let me think.
He's going to Peacekeeper so that he doesn't lose his Sludge Belcher. And we continue Giorduno's slow march to the scaffold.
Picking away. The piloted Shredder that's been here all game. 1 damage at a time. Get him.
I wonder.
Filling up the board here is playing a little bit into Flame Strike. It's going to be interesting if the Flame Strike does get drawn before he ends up dying.
It is. There's slight possibility of a comeback there, but how much damage do we have now? 3, 4.
Not quite enough. He's still short even with the Consecrate and with Perfect Knuckles, but
Oh!
picks up the True Silver Champion.
I'll do it.
That is going to seal the game. So Giorduno going out 0-2 against the great Dayjob, bringing in Dayjob to 3rd place, which nets him a $20 Blizzard gift card and 10 Amazon dollars as well.
Congratulations, Deja.
So our favorite for winning that early match actually goes out 4th place.
Yeah, that's what happens in Hearthstone, man. Some random elements and some skill involved, and boy, the rogue didn't do it. At least he brought it out, though. I'm happy we got to see the rogue today.
All right, so we're going to set up for the finals here. It is going to be Crank versus Sid Dixel. And boy, I'm excited for this one.
It's actually going to be best of 5. That round was best of 5, so they still have another match.
Oh my, they do stuff.
Okay.
What am I?
And sorry, the screen seems to have cut out on me, or froze, so I have to reload Hearthstone here.
All right, that
So.
means... Well, that changes everything. Well,
Yeah, so he can
Georgina's-
still come back.
has a chance. He is going to be going with the mirror match then with the Paladin.
Yep. Paladin off. Could be a long game.
All right. So we are going to go into game 3 here with Ryle and Jorduno. They are queued up. They know what's going on. They already have the game ready to go, and we're going to hop into game 3 here.
All right.
With place match.
I will fight with honor. Justice demands retribution.
Almost mirrored hands to begin with here before the mulligan.
Job's done.
Ooh, quartermasters on both sides.
Yep. Zombie chow, so important to get out there. Contest the knife juggler. We'll see if Jorduno even drops it. Nope.
Reporting for duty.
And he's going to take his time. Let it get whittled down a little bit by the minions coming up here. He doesn't
Such
really
a
have...
good start here from Day Job. If there's a muster coming up. Whew. It's in for some juggles.
Well, at some point you do have to play a minion into that zombie chow.
Yep.
With 2 Aldors here, he might actually choose to play one. He does have the muster for the juggle. That is going to play a little bit into Consecrate, so he's going to bet against it, though.
I still like it. It's so much damage with the juggler out.
All right.
He's
Really?
giving a beatdown.
Will he pick up the Consecrate to save himself here? He gets it off the top.
All right. Jorduno top decks, and he does have his own knife juggler waiting with his super sniping ability.
This is going to prevent the coin quartermaster, which is definitely what Ryle, what Day Job was hoping to get out of this particular exchange. Instead,
Yeah,
he's left with only answers in his hand and late game cards. I think it's time for these piloted shredders to come out, start doing some work on the board.
Yeah, they give Jorduno a big lead here in these hands.
Follow the rule.
First Aldor comes out.
Reporting for duty.
Aldor is typically in this matchup saved for things like Dr. Boom, Tyrion, some of the later game cards.
I would have liked to see the Lotheb there, but I understand his choice as well.
Piloted Shredder not doing you much good here. Going to be able to clear some of those 1/1s, get your other Piloted Shredder out.
He's gonna go for the juggles right away.
Hendai's RoboCup,
One.
actually pretty good pickup here.
There's 2. Jorduno knife jugglers are insane.
Well, Morgan, I believe that jugglers today have been pretty perfect, pretty on the ball.
Wow. Sylvanas is a very good play into Shredder when it's played second.
Follow the rule.
He's going to Aldor Peacekeeper, which may provide a stay of execution, but the juggler does
Oof.
not keep it going the whole time. Gets the juggle into her, so she will be able to destroy herself, which means Jorduno's got to flood the board and hope that
Yep.
takes something weak.
Just praying that it steals the 1/1 here.
All right, how are the RNG forces above going to play here?
Oh! Steals the hero juggler.
That juggler was a traitor when he sent that first knife into that Sylvanas.
Yep.
I'm not surprised he's the one that defected.
I'm
Double juggler's
going to
gonna
the
go
other
out.
paladin.
And jugglers once again. What is going on here? The traitor juggler teaming up with his new pal to take out the little minions on the board. And let's not forget the 1/1 there coming out of the shredder. Not very good.
Here comes some more knives. Oh boy.
Yeah, if these hit the shielded mini bot, oh, okay. Hero jugglers couldn't be heroes forever.
No.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I
One
like
of them
that.
will pay the ultimate price.
I don't
Goes
like
down.
that trade too much. I would have liked to see the Aldor go into the 1/2, the shielded mini bot with its shield kill a knife juggler. Both minions would have survived in that case.
Yep. That would have been a better trade for
Put
sure.
your faith in the light.
Tyrion going to go out. A good.
Very good in the mirror. I find that often the player that plays Tyrion first wins this match.
So what do you think? Is Equality going to go down here so that he can use his weapon and the shielded mini bot to take out Tyrion and then get his Dr. Boom on the board?
Yeah. I mean, that's the play he's got. He has no other answer for the Tyrion. He just has to hit it with his face.
Well played.
Dr. Boom going to present some more interesting juggle opportunities this next turn.
Yes. And
Do you risk
that
it?
weapon. The weapon's out. I think he starts going face here.
Oh, and
Ugh.
and the traitor juggler is now
Gets itself
gone.
killed by a boombot.
Reporting for duty.
I would like to see the coin on the Lotheb here start to close this game out. Doesn't do it.
Well, Dayjob does opt to go to face, which is going to allow this Boombot a chance to clear the board, and of course it does. Guardian of King's going to come out, and this has been back and forth the whole time. Jorduno going to come back here.
What a great card. The Surprise Guardian of Kings keeps him alive through this Ashbringer. If he can weather the Ashbringer, he has a great chance of coming back because he has his own Tyrion coming later.
Oh, Equality going out here, but he can only remove one minion with the Ashbringer. He's opting to put his Sludge Belcher out there. Dr. Boom is now starting to resemble his Boombots a little more than his old self.
He doesn't even get to explode.
He's going to opt to lay on hands, and at this point, that's probably the right play. You just got to start filling up. Try to get your Quartermaster his muster.
You just saw
Fine.
Dayjob go face with his weapon, so the heal was appropriate.
He's going to clear out the 1/2, and he's going to play the Annoyatron, which contests the Ashbringer's final charge. This also locks him out of the muster play
Reporting for
before he... Oh, so he's not going to use the free charge of the weapon here.
duty.
So this is actually a slight mistake.
Yep.
He could have used at least the... Well, I know that the 1/4 is a perfect amount of damage for Divine Shield, but it is okay to over-damage it.
That was a good play, though. But the Avenging Wrath
Well played.
attack here.
Oh man, so this could go disastrously, or it could go really well.
2, 3, 4,
You know what?
5? Not bad.
I'd say
Take
it's
5
above
out of
that.
6.
Jorduno trying everything he can to keep himself in this series.
See the whole hand play it out.
Reporting for duty.
Match got down and dirty real fast here.
Alright, he's opting not to play the Zombie Chow onto the board.
Still
Possibly
thinks he can get lethal.
He's possibly playing around a mind control tech there.
It's a heads up play for a mind control tech.
Alright, Hero Juggler coming back in.
Yep.
Gets on one. Now it needs to get that shielded mini bot potentially. Ooh,
No, it doesn't go for it.
That means the board will be easily cleared. Leohan's going to refuel Dayjob's hand.
Huge top deck for Dayjob. All he had was a zombie chow and a coin sitting there.
All right. Will the desperation kick in, and will Big Game Hunter get put down before Dr. Boom? Picks up a Consecrate, which of course potentially keeps him alive here.
Consecrate kind of baits out him playing the big game as well, though, which we know would be disastrous. Throws that out. See if he does.
He is going to keep it.
Holds it.
Lothab, even without playing that big game, Lothab and the Boombots and the True Silver Champion by themselves are going to be able to lock this up. So he's got to find an answer in this deck. I don't know that he's got one. Oh, Aldor Peacekeeper going to save him for now.
Yeah?
The Boombot RNG may produce lethal here.
That was about the only answer he could have, though. That Aldor was great.
Consecration still 2 damage short. So Consecration goes out. The Boombot has to hit more than 1 here for lethal. It hits for 3.
And of course.
Which means that now, officially, the best of 5 has been completed, and we will be awarding Dayjob the 3rd place here for real this time.
He's getting that prize.
He worked very hard for it. Very strong games.
All right. Are we ready to set up the final match?
I am very excited for this final. The Shaman players dueling it out. Their undefeated decks.
So, Jorduno, did he get unlucky in that Paladin game? He didn't draw his Tyrion. His Dr. Boom got hard countered. What
Yeah,
could he have done
that was a bit unlucky. He needed his Tyrion. Like I was saying early in the match, the player that gets it just has such an advantage.
We're going to set these players up. They're going to challenge one another here in just a moment. So let's talk about first decks here. So is the Shaman coming out for Sid yet again?
I have to expect it. It just, until it loses a game, ride it all the way to this title. Try to.
Yeah, I think it will. Now, the thing is, though, the Shaman deck is guaranteed to come out during this best of 5. So
You could save it as an ace, but I like getting that momentum. So often in Hearthstone, the person that wins game 1, just like the last series, steamrolls the whole series. So I like keeping the undefeated streak going.
well, let's find out. We're just about to get into game number 1 of the Vie Cup 2015 finals.
Winner gets to declare themselves the champion of the first Vie Cup.
Are we ready? Not quite. All right, they're both selecting their decks right now. What about, we didn't talk about Crank's decks. Crank also has a Shaman, which is undefeated. Do you go Shaman versus Shaman? His deck is a little earlier game with a lot fewer late game minions.
Yep, it's a lot more the old school Shaman deck. He may... Oof. I might want to see that Warlock with those charge minions. Maybe try and rush down this Shaman. Hasn't worked so far, but...
It looks like he did select Paladin. We are going into game 1 now. Sid did pick the Shaman, so it's going to be interesting. Will Shaman clean house?
I'm
That starting
excited. He's
hand-
going to try and out-control this shaman. I don't know if
Ooh.
it's possible.
He opts to keep Rockbiter. Sid opts to keep Rockbiter in his opening mulligan and ends up drawing a second one. That's a pretty weak card against Paladin. It's not very good against Shield
defense
and
against Chow or the Haldor. But you're right, the mini bot is very weak against.
Of course, Crank does not have the mini bot. Does not really have a good turn 3 play here. Coghammer, of course, needing some kind of minion to buff it up with Divine Shield and Taunt. We are going to see the Flame Tongue go down here. Keep the minions clear.
Yep.
That's the,
Control the board for the shaman.
a Shaman will spend... Sid's particular brand of Shaman will spend any cards it can to just keep the early game going so that you can survive to those big minions.
Yeah, he often throws both Flame Tongues down very early just to survive until he gets those legendaries.
The debate going on right now in Crank's head is probably Muster or Coin Piloted. I think Muster's the right play. Get that totem off the board. You counter the Flame Tongue totem. There's actually no... The only counter to you is Lightning Storm. Now, Lightning Storm will lock out Sid from all the other plays, but does Sid actually need anything to go out in the next turn?
Oof. Yeah, that's the decision. He gives up his Flame Tongue if he doesn't Storm. He could also maybe bait a Quartermaster and get a good Storm on a later turn. Decides to clear, keep the Flame Tongue alive.
Well, the threat here is the Coin Quartermaster. He still hasn't spent it, and in fact, the Quartermaster does end up in the hand of Crank. So, just like the previous game, we are basically dodging the Quartermaster with great top decks. The Consecration being what happened last game.
Yeah, these Quartermasters are just getting stranded in the hand all the time. Now, Sid is unfortunately too low on mana to get any of his minions out here. Very slow turn for him.
The Rockbiter might be a good play here. There could be something bad that comes out of that Shredder, and at some point you do have to remove it. Are you saving him for lethal with your Doomhammer? Possibly. But could risk it with the Totem too and see what comes out there first. If Sid gets the Taunt Totem, could prevent him from having any issues here. This is good because now the Coghammer has a lot less value. Oh, well.
Stealth Minions, a great little drop out there out of the Shredder.
Yeah, I do think it's going to come out here. The board is going to get cleared pretty much for free. Let's see. Expect a Loatheb on this turn. Just a big
Sid's
minion.
finally fallen behind in one of these early games. Let's see how much comeback potential the deck has.
Dr. Boom, a great card to pick up for comeback. There's really only one play here. You could Rockbiter, I guess, but Piloted Shredder gets you the board presence you need. Totem might keep some of your minions alive here. Piloted Shredder's not too bad against Loatheb.
Yeah. Both pieces get to hit in a trades 1-for-1 card wise.
Coghammer would be a 50-50 here to block, to get Divine Shield on the Loatheb, which would be pretty much an insane amount of value, but he could actually clear out the Shredder with his weapon and his Gilbin Stalker. Gilblin.
I like that play a lot, and then you could get the Coghammer on just the Loatheb. Give him a little shield there.
Well, option 2 is no matter which one it hits, I guess you can clear that Shredder out without losing too much value there. Well, let's find out what happens. I would just play the Coghammer right out. Let's see what happens. He's going to swing first, of course, so he can save the charge of Coghammer.
Get the value of that weapon before placing a new one. Get the guaranteed Loatheb, Divine Shield. Unfortunately, it's somewhat a Knife Juggler there. But he does take that out with the shield.
Well, Knife Juggler is probably no different than with the Coghammer. It actually didn't matter what minion came out of there except for Doomsayer. Sarah would have been
Oh, yeah.
unmovable in this case.
Egg may have been pretty gross too.
All right, there's not going to be lethal coming from the Paladin. I'd play the Dr. Boom here. Dr. Boom is probably going to start to become unplayable as Crank starts to deal more face damage and bring you closer to lethal.
Also, as you get some more hero powers out on the board, your boombots end up just doing one to any of those.
You got to save the Hex for Sylvanas and Tyrion at this point. It's not.
Yep, you haven't drawn into any Earth Shocks. You gotta hold it.
Yeah, it's just not viable for Lotheb. It's too small a minion. Now, what about using the Crackle? He could use the Crackle on the Lotheb, too. The Crackle would, of course, have a 75% chance to kill it.
That's a fair play. If he's worried about taking damage. Again, I don't think he's going to take 26 from a Paladin. Oh!
He does get the low roll on it, which is, of course, going to force the Rock Biter to also be used to hit the Lotheb.
Again, he sacrifices his totem. He's scared about his life total.
Quartermaster actually potentially could get some good value here. It's pretty hard to get the... You have two Quartermasters in your hand now. I think Hero Power Quartermaster going to be better play than anything else you can do. It's going to let you take out that Shredder no matter what you get out of it.
Yeah, just keep clearing and controlling the board here.
Oh, except for Doomsayer.
That 1%, just holding on to it.
Well, actually, it's better than 1%. It's 1 in, I believe, 64.
Woo!
He does get a Pyromancer, of course, which means a Quartermaster would be able to clear this out.
Reporting for duty.
Unfortunate that it was a 3-2 that kills his buffed minion with the Quartermaster.
Right. The average, of course, being 2.5. So one's probably going to be 2.5 on both sides, attack and defense. So one's probably going to be a 3, one's going to be a 2. He was probably hoping for the 2-3.
Yeah. He's got to play this boom. There we go.
Yeah, every turn it's just becoming further and further unplayable. Picks up the Muster, which will allow the Quartermaster to be insane here. But he's going to opt for the Aldor Peacekeeper. This does give him the ability to remove that boom with just the board.
Sid has kept himself at full life. The problem is just the cards. He needs draw.
Right, at this point he's just lacking a win condition. Sylvanas going to go out here, try to bait out a Hex, but he does pick up the Earth Shock, which is going to save him against yet another board. But how many answers do you have to spend at this point just to keep staying alive as Sid?
Well, keep clearing it is pretty good. That Earthshock is so huge, it lets him keep the Hex for the Tyrion, and then you look at Crank's hand, and he doesn't have much ammo left after that.
This is the first time that we've seen that Sid actually hasn't drawn any of the late-game cards that this deck needs to win.
Yep.
Although Earthshock being a great top deck there, if you look at the last 3 cards in the hand, the other 3 cards in the hand, you're not getting much help.
Right. Starting off with the double Rock Biter and drawing into the double Crackle, he just had all his removal and none of his big minions.
Is he going to play the Hex first? He's going to play the Hex first, which is going to lock a Boombot out of exploding. But it is going to prevent the Hex from being the target of the Boombot. So probably the better play here. Ooh. Boombot does get the value there, so...
Yeah. Not the worst thing with another Quartermaster waiting from Crank.
It's a tough call here. Do you end up crackling the 3-3? That's going to potentially save some of your... the Coghammer going to most likely remove this Taunt Totem. Muster will come out to see where the bomb will hit. So he's debating the Muster Quartermaster. Do I hit the bomb first, or do I Muster Quartermaster first?
I kind of like Muster. Did he already use a weapon charge this turn? Because hitting it with the bomb would be really nice.
He did already use the weapon charge,
Yeah,
clearing out the... So he's just going to let the bomb trade. He's not worried about 1 damage. We, of course, know that is going to be the right play. Ooh, Alex Straza.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a
Alex
very
Straza,
fun deck. Very fun card in this deck.
Alex Straza may open up an interesting line of play here. If he ends up drawing the the Doom Hammer, uh, he doesn't have the Rock Biters to supply it because he had both in the early game.
And he also already used one of his crackles, might have to use a second one here. So his burst is really gone. He may have to save the Alex to try and heal himself, because a bunch of damage is going to be incoming very quickly.
At the same time, if he doesn't use the Alex Straza now, healing himself might not be enough.
What to do?
Already, you've got more than 15 damage on the board. So he's probably going to play that Alex Straza and hope that the trades happen here instead of face damage.
And by playing this, he's basically playing it just for the body. It only did 3 damage out of the 15 he was probably hoping for with an Alex Straza.
Oh, he's going to use the Earth Shock. He's just trying to reduce that damage. And now Tyrion is definitely going to be coming out the next turn. Well, actually, Aldor Peacekeeper would be able to save a lot of his board if he uses that instead.
Yep. Get that to 1 attack. It's a useless dragon now.
All right, so he's probably going to swing in with these Quartermasters so that he doesn't make himself susceptible to Consecrate. But, of course, that's exact 4 damage, so would expect no other play. He's got Lethal on the board for next turn.
And plays around a Silence on the Alex, which could deal a lot of damage.
Oh, Lightning Storm comes into Sid's hand just in time. Will Sid pick up the totem? Doesn't pick up the Spell Power totem, so...
It's all about these rolls.
Oh my, that is a lot of 2s on the board. Looking back at
Oh
that,
boy.
I'm sorry.
it only hit 2s on the 3 health minions and more.
Yep. Worst possible RNG.
Now Crackle is going to have to go out here and try to save the day.
Almost have to at this point.
Yeah, there's only 10 damage on the board still. That's going to be left after going through that Noyatron. If the Crackle is used here. Actually, it'd be 9 damage if he uses it on a 3-1. It's painful, but you just might have to do it.
I'd still like to target that 2 health creature, make things trade into the Inoyatron.
Right. Antique Healbot, just lay on hands. Antique Healbot, this Paladin deck is not dying anytime soon. He's going to save his minions by using the charge. And with no cards in hand, he's going to play, likely going to play Tyrion here to lock up the game.
Yep.
Reporting for duty.
Let's see what Sid's final card is here. Oh, Ragnaros he can't even play. Because he's mana locked.
Well played.
All right. So the first game is going to go to Crank in this best of 5 series, and we are going to see Sid's Shaman be defeated for the first time in the tournament.
It had some pretty awful RNG in this match, but yeah, he'd get it taken out.
Shaman punished for it. Shaman was definitely punished there for not having any of its card draw. That deck is severely lacking card draw to begin with. Shaman lacking card draw. It pretty much ran out of fuel.
Yep, that is the disadvantage of that particular variation. Without card draw, you can have those bad draws and be completely out of answers. We saw him with 0 cards in hand there.
Yeah, I don't think there was a route to victory for the Shaman in that case.
I'm excited to see Sid's other decks, though. He hasn't played them in the tournament, so...
Right, so against Paladin, once again, you have a choice between the Mirror Match and the Druid, and so far, the Mirror Match has not been selected by anybody for the second match.
People are, yeah, it's usually saving that Paladin for last. No.
Let's see, so...
Now, the Druid would be the first of the day if he plays that. Be interested in seeing that match.
Yeah, this Druid deck has a little bit of tech that can help deal with some of the Paladin's card. It's got the mind control tech. It's got some of the early game zombie chows, but 2 big game hunters. Oh man, is that going to be the deciding factor here? Are those 2 cards going to be dead weight? Let's find out. We're going into actually a Paladin mirror match for game 2.
All right.
I will fight with honor. Justice demands retribution.
Mulligan
Both
for
players
Sid.
putting their faith in the light here.
Mulligan for Sid, going to produce the zombie chow for turn 1. It's going to help a lot against this shielded mini-bot.
Well met.
We do know that Muster for Battle is there, though, so there's going to be a pretty standard exchange of cards here at the beginning.
Oh, love to see that mini bot into muster. One of the best openings you can get.
Well, right now, Crank's debating. Do I coin the mini-bot? Do I coin even just a reinforce? I think coin mini-bot right here is a pretty safe play.
Yeah.
Shields up. Red alert. Shields up. Red alert.
Zombie Chow, of course, trades pretty evenly with the shielded mini-bot over a couple turns. First one of those big game hunters in Sid's deck.
He's strong all late game right now.
Going to opt not to remove the shield on the shielded mini-bot. And that's actually going to end up being a good play.
Reporting for duty.
Shielded mini-bot going to remove the 1/1. Now that Zombie Chow can't remove both cards on the board. Of course, with this play, you got a little bit to worry about. If there was a Muster for Battle there, that would be very dangerous.
So there's a good trade here into the mini bot, but no follow-up. Does he want to drop the big game? I don't
Let me
think we saw 2 targets for big games in the last game from Crank's Paladin.
Well, once again, you got to be thinking about Muster for Battle turn 3. Zombie Chow will trade into that shielded mini-bot. Right now, the Zombie Chow trades with the board. You know Silverhand Recruit's going to run into that. You know the 1/1 will run into your 1/1. So, or the weapon will run into your 1/1. So, do you want to really play that big game hunter and just lose it to the muster board the next turn? Probably not.
Monster's gonna clear anyway. It's just such a strong opening.
Picks up a Knife Juggler. Knife Juggler with a dude, of course, not going to be able to clear enough to save himself. Consecrate's here and available, but we do know that Consecrate, not necessary like it was in the previous games. There's no coin here for the Quartermaster to threaten things.
let me think.
Based on his hand, I think we're going to see... I think we might still see that Consecrate, though.
My game's frozen up, so I'm gonna need a minute to relog.
All right. Other options here, True Silver Champion. Of course, swinging at a 1/1 from Muster, not the best ideal situation for True Silver. He's going to play the Knife Juggler. Just try to get some counters out there. Try to... Oh, he does hit a dude. So he's going to try to start eating up the Muster for Battle with that card. Knife Juggler will end up trading 1-for-1 with that, but leaving the Light's Justice up. A handful of answers here. The True Silver Champion, of course, not very great. He doesn't really have a way to keep this board steady with this current hand. He's got a great 5 and 6, though, coming up. So Crank, going to trade it. Going to pick up the True Silver, clear the board, keep one of his dudes alive for next turn.
Sid's finally getting closer to the mana where he can start playing his hand, though.
At this point, you still probably aren't playing that big game hunter, though. It's just going to get killed by the True Silver. But maybe it's for the best that you eat up that True Silver charge now. You know you have a other big game hunter in this deck to help with that.
Yep, and if he just waits for Sylvanas, the board from Crank already trades with it, so... He may want to eat that True Silver charge with it right now.
I've got the beast in my sights. Reporting for duty.
Big game and dude going down. Of course, this board is going to get cleared, and very likely that Lothab is going to go down to contest the Sylvanas play that's coming up. Sylvanas into this board is basically not a whole lot of value that you're getting there. What about True Silvering and using your hero power?
That's painful. It's the long game plan, but it hurts. You know, end up taking at least 2 hits from the Lothab.
I wonder.
He doesn't really have any other options. That's one of those two.
I think you really got to get that value out of the Sylvanas later. You basically don't want it to become a 1-for-1 card. You need it to be a 2-for-1. Even if it steals a dude, that potentially buffs your Quartermaster. So he's going to opt for that play. No real counter to that play in Crank's hand. Anti-Keelbot, not the best pickup.
Yeah, he doesn't really want to throw his Sylvanas out here either into the True Silver.
Yeah, his Sylvanas, of course, would simply delay the inevitable for the Lothab, and actually would be playing into both the Avenging Wrath and the Consecrate.
Yeah. Purifier, though, just dies straight up to the weapon. Not a lot of plays here.
I do think I'd like to see the Purifier go down, knowing very well that these Paladin decks don't run a whole lot of Death Rattle. It's Sylvanas, and it's Zombie Chow, and Sledge Belcher. It's really only 3 cards.
Yeah, you can't expect to get a lot of value from that card.
Well, there actually are Piloted Shredders, I guess, too, but it doesn't actually do much to a Piloted Shredder.
And there's the 10 damage from Lothab. Hurts.
Can clear this board with Consecrate, possibly with Avenging Wrath as well. But can also clear most of it with just the dude, weapon into the Scarlet Purifier, and he could play something else. What about playing dude and using the Quartermaster here?
I like that. That might be the strongest play, but then he strands his muster in the hand. It's a very awkward turn. Everything can deal with the board, but doesn't leave you with much of a board yourself.
He's going to opt not to take the 5 face damage there, but he's going to end up taking 4 over here. He's going to play the Sylvanas. Sid really just wanting to get some board down. Sylvanas also potentially countered by equality here, of course. So I bet that's what we're going to see. Ooh, and there is the Acidic Swamp Ooze.
A key pickup for Cranks, knowing Sid's hand here.
Might be the tech card needed to finish off Tyrion's weapon here in the future.
Yep.
So now you're stuck here. Do you play Sylvanas, try to trade right in, just get that 1-for-1 trade? At least he's losing his Sylvanas too, or do you go with the equality play, allowing you to put a heal bot down? Not a very strong minion.
I still kind of like the equality play. Wow. Trades in and then Sylvanas. All right. So now we've got 2 very strong plays, the Tyrion or the Muster Quartermaster.
Based on a clear board, Tyrion's typically a good play against Shaman, or against another Paladin, because when it's like you said earlier, the first one that goes out typically is the one that wins the game for you. You get your Ashbringer first, you get the 15 damage first, and in the position you're in right now, that 15 damage and that Ashbringer could be very big. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to see a trade and the Tyrion go down. Try to bait out some more of those removals and avoid the... You haven't seen a Consecration yet, too. So
yep.
Other play, Muster Quartermaster, it's potentially threatened by double Consecrate or equality Consecrate.
Yep, it would end up being demolished in this case, but it still puts a lot of power on the board. We'll see which one he goes with. No.
Going with the Muster Quartermaster.
Now I'll see what she goes with. The double consecrate, leave the little guy up, the 2/5, or the equality consecrate.
Well, I think you have to go with the equality here. It's just you can't leave the little guys on the board. You want to keep eating up some of those Lights Justice charges with your dudes. You don't want to ooze that Lights Justice.
Seeing the equality makes Sid happy to play Tyrion, or happier than he was.
Absolutely. There's not much. There wasn't much that Crank could have done to begin with to deal with that Tyrion. He wouldn't have been able to both remove the Divine Shield and use the equality last turn. In this case, though, he does pick up the Knife Juggler. That could deal with that Divine Shield.
And he has the way to deal with the weapon in hand. Now he just has to get rid of this Tyrion.
I think at this point you got to use your Quartermaster on one dude. You just have to have something that can contest this Tyrion. Does get the juggle on it though, so that's going to help.
Yeah, the Quartermaster contests the Tyrion very well. Antique Healbot. Man. That's the greedy play. You're waiting for another muster later.
I wonder.
But he should have the clear here with either option. He goes with the Healbot. Sid can continue to pretty much clear board here. This looks like a good Avenging Wrath turn.
Right, and this could be a Consecrate will clear the board just as easily. You might want to save the Avenging Wrath since it has so much RNG involved with it. Clearing this board essentially is keeping your Tyrion up again. You're only taking 3 damage. You're not worried about dying. You can play your Piloted Shredder in that case also.
Along with a dude, yep. You can get a lot out of that turn if you go with the Consecrate play. Of course, the Avenging, it isn't sure to clear with an equality later, whereas Consecrate would be.
Well, we saw how good the Equality Avenging Wrath was previously.
Yeah, it got 5 out of 6. Pretty darn good.
Does have 8 shots, so does opt for the Avenging Wrath. Might be playing this just because it's harder to fit in.
Yeah, it's more awkward to play the 6 mana.
Gets a little bit of a below average roll. He ends up taking the 3 damage anyway. But the thing that he does get out of this is, like you said, he's getting that 6 mana play out of the way. Well, it still can do at least something. No answers here for Crank.
Yeah, he's in big trouble against this Tyrion.
I think you got to lay on hands at this point. You got to find out how you can deal with that Tyrion, and equality might be the only answer.
Yep, you already got the Consecrate, just need the other piece. But no, people are really holding on to the lay on hands today.
Equality picked up on Sid's side, however. Not going to be very valuable in this case when you have so much control on the board.
Now, do you see this owl as being from the Warlock? That's what I'm seeing on my screen.
In that case, that's one of the chat bugs, one of the observer bugs. Might need to restart your client.
Got it.
This owl is a possible way to have that 3/3 get removed with the Lights Justice. Of course,
Let me think.
the 3/3 was put out here to contest that Shredder. You can still clear the board. Tyrion hitting that 3/3 and the Shredder and Lights Justice going into the Quartermaster.
I'm wondering if he's worried about his health here, and that's why this turn's taking so long. Doesn't want to use his weapon necessarily to clear creatures.
At this point, he's just deciding, yeah, do I go for it at this point? And he is going to go for it. He's going to play the muster, and he's going to play the hero power, which of course we know is going to get punished by this Consecrate.
Yep, and everything's out of the hand except the owl. Sid's making a final push for lethal.
Consecrate removes 6 damage from the board and another 4 from the guys. And the Ooze removes the other 5 from the Ashbringer. The surprise tech possibly going to secure the game for Crank.
It's really coming down to the wire.
Well, you have an Owl potentially here to clear out this board with Consecrate. You could use your Shredder just to try to clear it out with Consecrate. I'd opt for the Shredder.
Yeah, it's nice to save that Owl, because you haven't seen the Tyrion from Cranks yet.
So I'm thinking we're going to see a trade here, followed by a Consecrate, and if it's not a Doomsayer in that Shredder, then it's going to be a... Okay, he's just going to Consecrate and leave the 2/2 up and use the...
Still trying to go for the lethal.
Lay on Hands going to save the day here, but we do know that he's got 7 damage on board, so only 1 health will be retained in the next turn. Pyromancer going to help contest this board, possibly remove some lethal next turn.
Nice to get either of those drops out, the Pyro or the Zombie Chow.
Feel like the Pyro is pretty much required. You want to get that Sludge Belcher down, which means you're going to have to trade the Shielded Mini-Body there like he did. Still, at this point, you're just getting pummeled.
Yeah, I think Sid's just going to keep going to face here. He's kind of run out of gas himself. Needs to finish this game.
We have seen 2 Consecrates from Crank. That means it's pretty safe to play a Dude and the Pyromancer.
Yeah, we just saw the Pyromancer of Crank used as well, so his combos with equality are very limited.
I wonder.
The debate is the trade. Do we trade this piloted Shredder in there into that Wild Pyro?
He gets another minion out. May preserve lethal for next turn. It has to be what he's considering. And there he goes all face. Restart my client again. See the well played from Cranks. Can he not clear Sid's lethal?
Doesn't look like it. It appears that playing all those minions to the board, knowing that there wasn't a Consecrate, was the only way to really guarantee lethal coming into this. So we're gonna put that's gonna tie up the series, 1-1. The Shaman deck of Sid's being defeated, Crank's Paladin being defeated, which is gonna put us into the next game, which of course means that both of these decks are not going to be mirror match picks. So Sid has a couple options here at this point.
So Sid has the Paladin still playing. Cranks has to either go with the Warlock or the Shaman.
Now against a Paladin, we've seen the Shaman deck defeat a Paladin already. I think that might be the pick. The Warlock might be the ace in the hole for the last game.
I like that. He has been hiding that deck so far today. Whereas he played the Shaman in his earlier match, so maybe saving that as an ace. I'd agree with that.
Now, did Crank lose because he didn't draw Tyrion?
Again, we have that same matchup. Yeah, the player that gets Tyrion wins the game. Yeah, that's often what it comes down to in the mirror.
All right, looks like we are starting up. Sid and Crank once again. It's Paladin versus that Shaman deck. So having that success with that Shaman deck against a previous Paladin deck, probably encouraging Crank to do that. Ooh, we do actually see the Bomb Lobber in this deck. So this is one of your more traditional mech decks.
Bomb Lobber can be a great tech against Rogue. Unfortunately, he's not facing it.
2 musters and a quartermaster and the coin.
Well met.
This could turn sour very quickly for the shaman if
No Lightning
Frank-
Storm is drawn.
exactly. Do you coin? Oh well, with a knife
Wow.
juggler, you definitely don't coin a muster here. Of course, he could be playing around Flame Tongue. Opts not to.
Gotta go with the juggler and then start throwing knives.
Well, I believe we're going to see the Power Mace here. Using it now means that you can get one swing now and then guarantee the buff on your Harvest Golem or hopefully Piloted Shredder next turn.
It's gonna be very powerful to get that buff on the Harvest Golem.
With the coin, Muster for Battle is almost going to be guaranteed 2 3/3s without a Lightning Storm coming down here. And even Lightning Storm might miss the... Well, Lightning Storm will not miss, of course, if they're 1/1s, but Lightning Storm will be too late if it comes another turn later.
There's the muster.
Reporting for duty.
Can't really come up with a better play on turn 3 for Paladin.
All right. So I believe what we're going to see here is the Harvest Golem go down and a swing into one of the 1/1s with the Power Mace.
It hurts. We've seen all those Power Mace hits go to 1/1s of the Paladin today, but yeah, he has got to do it.
Well, this actually does contest the Quartermaster if he does this. The 4/5 that'll be produced by that Harvest Golem will be fighting against 2 3/3s. So both of them would have to trade in, and there'd still be a 2/1 left.
Yeah, the Harvest Golem is one of the best minions you can buff with it, just because it then comes back after you lose the Yeti body.
All right, so now there's still a debate. Are we going to Rock Biter and take out one of those 1/1s? He's going to Rock Biter the Healing Totem because it is going to heal itself. So once again, playing around that Quartermaster play.
It's a nice play whenever you can get value out of that Healing Totem.
The debate now is the second muster. Killing that Healing Totem and playing that second muster would set you up once again for the Quartermaster on turn 5.
Right, you saw he did not have the Lightning Storm answered last time, so do you push it and go for the second one right now?
I'm going to play the Piloted Shredder to hopefully contest that 4/5. Of course, with the Bomb Lobber in hand, a simple trade to the 1/1 will allow him to get that 4/3 body out of the way. And as we know, the average health and damage of the minion that comes out of it is less than 3.
Right.
So it might not even be able to contest the Harvest Golem or the Bomb Lobber.
You know, it could also be Millhouse and contest both.
Or it could even be Doomsayer and destroy both.
Yep.
That's what really makes the Piloted Shredder an exciting minion.
It's
It's
a ton of fun. I really like the Sky Golem, man. That guy pumping out 4-drops. They're such great minions.
What to do?
great minions until you end up with that Starving Buzzard 3/2, and it might as well have just been a piloted shredder. A piloted shredder. All right. In traditional mech deck fashion, Crank is just going to opt to get as much damage as possible. With the Light's Justice in hand, he's going to potentially force him to take 3 more damage to face by clearing that Divine Shield. But Consecrate here could allow this board to be a little more manageable for Sid.
Yep, none of the other plays make too much sense. Muster's a little too slow. You can't combo it with the Quartermaster yet. Big Game has no target.
You're basically going to take 3 damage and clear all the board but a 2/1.
That's a great clear. We see why the Shaman mech deck has gained popularity recently. That Anoyotron in combination with the Flame Tongue is great.
Oh, he does get the Owl. So the reason he cleared the Harvest Golem first is he's trying to decide, well, which of these should I kill the 2/1, or should I just clear the Flame Tongue Totem? He does opt to kill the Flame Tongue Totem. That's going to be punished here because he's going to have to take 2 more damage from the Harvest Golem, not only with the attack, but also, again, when he uses his Light Justice to clear it. This did play around another Anoyotron, though. By clearing the Flame Tongue, he prevents himself from just having a taunt. So it doesn't mean it's the wrong play.
I think he's got to rush the boom out here with the coin.
Yep, at this point you have a clear board against Mech Shaman. You're sitting at 17 health on turn 7. Mech Shamans don't have great answers to this kind of board. Hex very likely to go out here, but it's a painful Hex. The debate here is, do I swing at these boombots before I Hex?
I kind of would have liked that avenue. Because swinging at the Hex is just kind of a wasted charge.
Well, he is going to opt to go to face, and this is probably going to be the only road to lethal he can accomplish.
Now the Boombot's clear the spell power totem here, or go straight for face back. He has to be worried with the Doomhammer out. The potential with that, with a Rockbiter, to just eliminate Sid from this match. 10 damage from Rockbiter next turn has to be on Sid's mind. Now, I think he clears the spell power totem. That's one of the things that you'd lose to with that 10 damage is a crackle.
Right.
And he does.
Reporting for duty.
He's going to keep his big game hunter for a potential Dr. Boom here. Picking up a Defender of Argus, a very interesting, very good card in Shaman because it can buff the totems. But there isn't a really good avenue here to clearing the board. Do you risk it? Go face, drop some minions, and hope you draw that Rockbiter?
You may have to here. I mean, you drop the Zombie Chow, you're going to heal him way out of range. The Bomb Lobber does nothing good to hit. It could just be killed by the bomb in retaliation. Defender doesn't have 2 good targets to hit, unless he drops the Chow and opts to heal the Paladin.
Defender here might be the right play. With some lucky bomb RNG, he can get that last 2 damage that he's going to need in order to win the game with a Rockbiter top deck next turn. Should he play the Flame Tongue with it, that might also give him the damage he needs. He's going to swing at one of the bombs, both of the bombs, and clear out the minion with the Bomb Lobber.
It was the way to make sure the Bomb Lobber stayed alive.
If the Bomb Lobber does manage to make it through this turn, that's going to be 3 damage that he has instead of the 4 he would have gotten from the Doomhammer, which of course, and possibly more with the Defender of Argus, and possibly even more with the Flame Tongue Totem. Is he setting himself up for lethal? Not without help, though.
Yeah, with a good top deck he can. No real defensive cards for Sid here. The most defensive is Rag, because it'll get a shot off before the Shaman's next turn.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the Rag is a much more desperate play than he needs to make. You only have a chance at removing the 3/3. Opponent didn't have the right kind of combination for lethal there last turn. Muster Quartermaster actually might give you the better chance of actually winning in the long run. Rag, 33% chance to potentially prevent lethal. I don't know.
Yeah, the other play gives more power. This one is very defensive. Try and hit that Bomb Lobber.
Oh, and like a sniper, it goes to the face. Healbot comes out to bring him away from a possible lethal against against him with another rag shot to the face.
Big pickup when you're at that 8 health facing rag.
At this point, he's going to swing. Swing to the face. Is he going to use the Doomhammer to swing to face here?
Well,
he's going to do it
yeah,
because...
he's so close.
Right, and if a taunt goes down, the Doomhammer is not the thing you're going to use to clear that out. True Silver will be able to remove 4 damage from the board and heal him for 2 if it swings at the 0-3. That'll leave 7 damage on board, and of course we know 2 more from the Defender of Argus.
Let me think.
Is there any other way you can... Well, there is another way you can remove a lot of damage. But no matter what he swings at with the True Silver, it's still going to be that same amount of damage facing him. If he uses... Assuming he uses the Iron Beak Owl to silence that 0-3.
Right.
I think you're hoping for a rag shot to a 3-3 at this point.
Yeah, it's just True Silver, the 0-3, but then, well, it doesn't let you get a lot of board presence either.
I have the play. So you silence the 0-3. Or you silence the Wrath of Air Totem and you swing at the 0-3.
Silence rag. Guarantee the trade here.
This assures that there isn't going to be a lethal here.
Yep. But there will be with the Defender of Argus still.
Right, so not knowing his hand, you're hoping he doesn't draw that 2 damage. But of course we know he has it. We're not going to get to see Nepluton this game. Neptulon, rather. But hopefully next game. Cranks take game number 3, bringing the series to 2-1.
Shaman strikes back. So now we'll get to see Sid's Druid for sure. It's his last stand and last deck. Now what I've seen from Sid's Druid, he could stand a fair chance against this Shaman. He has a lot of taunt minions. A whole lot.
Right, and taunt minions, of course, pretty good against rush decks, but would you consider this deck, the Shaman deck, to be a rush deck with the Pluton in it?
It's not particularly rushy, but it does have the Doomhammer Rockbiter combo, and being able to prevent that with any type of taunt is really big.
Well, I'm certainly excited to see Neptulon potentially come out this next game. I love Murlocs. All right. Entering into game 4 now. Sid versus Crank. Crank winning this would win him the V Cup 2015 title.
Sid looking to just hang on for one more game.
He throws a bomb lobber, he gets one back. Sid's hand also doesn't look too great. You're really looking for that early game to stop those early game mechs.
Really looking for that ramp too. Get a wild growth, enervate. That's what Druid thrives on. Decides to keep swipe and ends up with 2. Ooh.
Oh man. Well, like with the Rockbiter before, it's just it's a mulligan. It's a risky mulligan. You want 1 swipe. You don't want 0 swipes. You don't want 2 swipes. Sometimes you just end up with 2. Picking up 2 great top decks here, though.
Yeah, exactly. He started with such a bad opening hand, but then the wild growth and the Senjin, he'll end up okay at the start.
Not a lot going for this hand with Crank. He's going to save his coin and not play the Harvest Golem here. Pretty good move. He doesn't really have a turn 3 play to follow up if he does use the coin.
Cranks can get out the Harvest Golem here or coin the Shredder. Neither of them trades with the Tazdingo, unfortunately.
I'd like to see the Harvest Golem go down here, particularly because he's used the Wild Growth. That counts as a card. So if he uses Rockbiter and the Harvest Golem to trade here, he's basically spending 1.5 cards for 2 cards, in one sense. Of course, he does have 2 different ways to clear this Harvest Golem. Trading into it with his Hero Power or with the Keeper. If seeing that Savage Roar in hand means it's probably a combo deck, so having more minions on board tends to be the better play. I'd like to see the Keeper go down here to finish off that Harvest Golem.
Yep, he didn't see too many minions he wanted to silence in this Shaman deck. Definitely the Sylvanas. Like to have one for that.
Opting for the value play and just going to play the Big Game Hunter. This accomplishes the same thing. It's not playing very well around Dr. Boom, but you're hoping to win before Dr. Boom becomes a factor.
And he also, unfortunately, did not get to see that Neptulon last game, or that may influence his decision to keep or play Big Game Hunter.
Bomb Lobber here, potentially a very strong play. Another option to coin out the Rock Biter. Bomb Lobber had the option of removing 4 damage instead of 3 from you.
I like the Rock Biter there. Clear it up.
Shredder's a little stickier a minion than Bomb Lobber, so
Yeah.
this play is definitely playing for tempo to try to regain the board.
Yeah.
With that play being made, there is the silence that he decided to keep with the Keeper.
It's
And that
awfully tempting.
Now, knowing that this Shaman deck, like you said before, is lacking cards that you really want to silence, this is going to get you on the board and ready to go for that combo on turn 9.
Yeah. You're also holding on to those swipes, though. You may be reluctant to play his minions out before using one of them. Looks like he'll decide on the silence play, though. I like it. Make sure you clear up all of that piloted golem and contest the healing totem with your keeper.
Now, he could go with the 2 damage and use his face to do another, and use his face to clear it and hope for a really crappy minion. For example, he got a Vitality Totem out of it. He would have also got to keep his Big Game Hunter with that play. So, do you risk it with the RNG? That really is what the question that would have to run through your mind is. Bomb Lover, of course, going to be easy play here. Quick counter. Once again, this hand that Sid has is just not very strong.
Now, Shades you normally want to get out as soon as possible. So we'll see if he plays it the turn he draws it.
Healbot's something you want to keep for a little bit of later game. I bet we're going to see a swipe into a Shade here.
Yeah, I like that.
It's on curve, helps protect your board, helps protect you against the Bomb Lobber, and get ready to set up some bigger minions that you're hopefully going to draw this coming turn.
Saves the swipes.
One of the issues with saving the swipe possibly opens you up to hitting some more minions with it. However, it also means that you're going to be spending that 4 mana elsewhere. It might mean you can't play both the swipe and the minion you draw. This is one of those cases here. By not playing that swipe last turn, this Ancient of Lore can be countered by a Flame Tongue Totem very easily, should there have been one.
He also doesn't have the option of revealing his Shade without it getting traded away now.
Exactly. If he chooses not to play that Shade, I guarantee we're going to see that Lightning Storm come out and prevent any kind of scary Shade plays.
Mm-hmm.
Picks up a second Lightning Storm. He's going to opt.
Ooh.
Frank's going to opt for Dr. Boom instead, possibly feeling that there isn't much of a threat here on the board. Now, what's interesting is this Kel'Thuzad now has the potential to pick up a lot of value, but this board otherwise is very clearable.
Unfortunately, the Shade would come back as a 2/2 instead of a 4/4 if he does the Kel'Thuzad.
Right, not a very strong play, for sure. But this is going to force, that would force the shaman to trade the board, or at
The
least
double swipe really clears this board nicely. You just would hope the bombs don't kill your shade.
very true. Yeah, I believe the double swipe is going to be what comes out here. Keeping that swipe actually might have ended up being a little bit better a play.
It's definitely great in dealing with boom.
He's just going to instead opt to use one swipe and hope for some solid RNG on those bombs. Let's find out if they hit that Ancient of Lore. One misses, but one does hit it. He is going to play the Tazdingo Senjin Shieldmaster, leaving this board for the Shaman completely destroyed.
Here come the Murlocs. You were waiting for them.
All right, let's see what he got. So he does have the draw a card play with the Spirit Walker and the charging Bluegill, and if he does manage to play those with the Murloc War Leader as well, that Bluegill will be charging for 4 damage. Murloc Tidecaller, of course, not very strong with the rest of these cards here. Very easily swiped off the board.
Sid is wishing he still had that big game right now. As it is, he has a difficult clear here. The swipe and trade away his minion. You know, with the Druid of the Claw top deck, it's not that bad. He gets to reestablish board.
Very true. Essentially, spend all his mana, charge into face maybe, or try to get him even closer to combo range. But you know that there are Murlocs there. You know that there are no hexes used. It's at this point, it's looking like an uphill battle for Sid. You're gonna have to find some way to get to lethal, and I don't know. Those answers on the left side of the Shaman hand, or the right side if you're looking at it the other way. It's just...
Yeah, and trying to fight against a swarm of Murlocs when you're out of swipes, not easy.
This is certainly the better play here. The best play he can come up with. Now, we do know that there is no way the Shaman can clear this without a Hex. This might be the board presence that Sid needed to get things going. I bet you this turn we are going to see some Murlocs.
That'd be nice to see. He does have the Charger in the Bluegill, but he still can't clear that Druid of the Claw, I don't think. He's just 2 mana locked at 6.
Yep, the most damage he can do to that Druid of the Claw would be both Lightning Storms clearing it. Hex going to come out. He is going to play the Charging Bluegill to get rid of that Hex, potentially helping against some crazy double Savage Roar Innervate combos, or some kind of Charging Minion Innervate combos. Picks up the Mind Control tech, which 1 minion short on this board. But with those Murlocs, that Mind Control tech may be the way to save the game.
Even though it's mana efficient here, I'd hold it. See what cards he gets.
Ooh, Ancient of War is going to be another great card to put down here. If he can get that down and get Kel'Thuzad to return it, that'd be great. If it pulls the Hex, that's even still going to be great.
It's a big pickup when you just saw a Hex last turn on your Druid of the Claw. If that's his answer to that, what answer does he have for Ancient of War? Fortunately, he does have the second Hex.
He is going to clear the Murloc with his hero power. This Healing Totem and Spell Damage Totem now have lasted a very long time on this board. There just really hasn't been an opportunity to remove them. Maybe not even a desire to.
It's one of the reasons Shaman is also strong in this meta. It's so many decks rely on going face, but if you leave the totems up for Shaman all game, it's disastrous when they play Flame Tongue or anything else. Spells.
So right here, I'd definitely like to see Fire Elemental go down. You need some board presence. You need to be able to contest some of this stuff. You've got the little minions here. You've seen both swipes. Just flood the board and go for lethal in a couple turns. Double Innervate in the hand of Sid.
Not a lot of good things to steal. That fire elemental would be the one big one. This mind control tech.
This mind control tech is pretty well played around with this board. You've got a 1 in 6.
The Anoyotron wouldn't be a horrible steal.
He is gonna run. He's gonna use it. Picks up the fire elemental. 1 in 6 chance. Oh man, that is almost certainly going to. Wow.
That's
So
huge.
that is huge. So now, what do you do from here? You probably want to clear this Anoyotron out.
Yep. And then he could do any of his other minions as well with the innervates.
He's going to opt for the Ancient of War instead, and I like this play too. There's so many hex targets here. You're basically saying, all right, spend your removal, clear this board, and then what? What are you left with to play Kel'Thuzad? Now the double Lightning Storm with the Spell Power Totem. If he gets good rolls here, that might be the best way to basically seal this Druid's fate.
Wondering why he didn't clear the Anoyotron there. That was an interesting choice. Because that Ancient of Lore is still dead to a Lightning Storm.
He's going to use Hex and a single Lightning Storm. Basically trying to prevent some build-up, but he does roll low on the Fire Elemental, but he's going to play Spirit Walker so he can draw these
Draw.
Now, what do you think? Should he have run the 1/1 into it as well since he got the low roll and tried to draw 2 cards instead?
That's probably the smart decision, yeah. The 1/1 Murloc is not as good as a card.
Well, then again, he is massively overloaded. He has plenty of cards to play in the next couple turns.
He also
Maybe
has the buff for the Murlocs. So that might have been part of it.
Very true. What way could the Druid even remove that card without removing the 1/1 at this point?
It's tough. He's out of swipes against all these Murlocs.
Looks like stealing that Fire Elemental may not have made the difference. It certainly opened up some opportunities here.
Yeah, you can see Sid was just hoping that this would be the Kel'Thuzad turn, but he ends up with a completely wiped board.
So not removing that Anoyotron is about to show its pain here. That Murloc. Oh, but Kel'Thuzad, another option. No, not an option. He is actually overloaded. This Murloc War Leader will allow him to gain 4 more damage on the board from these Murlocs and use the Anoyotron to add up to 8 damage and get that Kel'Thuzad off the board. He might even just use the Lightning Storm, and that also is going to draw him a card.
Yep, that was the one mistake here from Sid, not clearing that Anoyotron last turn. Now it's going to bite him. Man, that Spirit Walker is getting big.
Well, that
like
is a
the Lightning
temporary
Storm.
buff. If he is able to destroy that War Leader, then we won't have much to worry about. So I think the debate right now is, do I play the Lightning Storm? There's no question in my mind. Get that Shade off the board.
Yeah.
What else are you going to use the Lightning Storm on? He's got 3 cards. He's used his lures. He's not going to draw cards.
Unfortunately, he gets the low roll on Kel'Thuzad, so he can't save the Spirit Walker.
Right. I'd like to see him trade both Murlocs into it just so he can draw that card.
He's valued that smallest Murloc. All game, he's keeping him alive. Scout Jr.
We'll have to see if it pays off. Nothing doing in the hand of Sid at this point. You're pretty much playing your hand out. You can't play the Savage Roar. You need it for your combo. You can't even swing your hero power at this Anoyotron. It's just going to heal up next turn.
Crank is just trying to go for lethal with a 0 damage minion. With some good VM. Or 0 mana.
Opts not to play the Zombie Chow. He knows his only hope is some kind of crazy double combo with Innervate. Kel'Thuzad going down, going to not only cause him to draw going to cause him to redraw these 2 minions. Annoyatron going to refresh its shield. And
Yes.
this Annoyatron that wasn't removed 3 turns ago is now back again.
Yeah. The bane of Sid's existence right now, that Annoyatron. And the Scout is back. He's still on it.
What card could Sid draw here in order to survive at this point? I think the only thing he can do is get Force of Nature.
Yeah, the second big game's just an insult now after both Boom and Neptulon are gone, cleared the hard way.
Oh, I think you're going to have to play that big game, Hunter. Play your cards out here once again. You got to keep the Innervate. That Innervate dead in your hand. At least by playing those 2 cards, or at least by playing the Zombie Chow here, you're reducing the damage on your face. Then again, that minion is just going to come back.
Yep. Anything you play into a Kel'Thuzad board just gets traded away for free because all the minions come back. So
Yep.
It's pretty much GG if you can't kill it the first turn.
He's got 20 damage, not quite enough for lethal. Could play that Azure Drake to try to draw for lethal, but then he loses 4 damage from the Flame Tongue because his board will be full.
Lothar is a great closer. Anytime you're close to lethal like this, like you said, Sid's out is basically Force of Nature to get rid of KT. He's not going to be able to do it with Lothar.
Yep, at this point, the only out in the game would be Deathwing, which we know is not in Sid's deck. And
Can we put it in there?
yes, without some divine intervention here, I believe this game is over. And it looks like Sid is going to be our 2015 Vie Cup second place winner. And Crank is going to be our Vie Cup winner for 2015. Congratulations to him. That's, of course, he's going to win a $40 Blizzard gift card and a $10 Amazon gift card. Sid, runner-up, going to win a $40 Blizzard gift card. So congratulations.
Yeah, both these players certainly played wonderfully in this tournament. And just congratulations to Cranks for taking it home. He really deserves it. He's worked hard this season. He's almost legend. Maybe he'll party by doing that.
Well, all right. Well, that is going to close the V Cup 2015.
Oh, I can't hear you guys. Okay, there we go. All right, you guys are back on screen. Wow, 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 wow. What intense games.
There's a ton of great matches today for sure.
Oh, yeah. What were some of your guys' favorites? I mean, minus the last few that we just saw, which were very, very intense long games.
That last series was absolutely my favorite series, but I got to hand it to Sid for bringing that very interesting Shaman deck. So if I had to pick my favorite, it would be those Shaman games where it just felt like things weren't going the Shaman's way and just completely turned around.
Yeah. I mean, they both made really good plays, especially these last matches. Do you think there's anything different they could have done? Like where you saw a turning point?
Removing that Annoyatron.
Yep, here in this
That
last
last
match.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
That thing blocked so many hits.
Yeah.
Also playing the BGH. He played it for tempo, but then the 2/7 attack minions came out later. And he
Yeah,
didn't
that's
have a good
exactly
answer.
why. Yeah, that's exactly why I was suggesting he play the Keeper instead. It still puts a minion on the board to build your Savage for, but you're not playing into the doom that's coming, that you know is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, intense. Well, congratulations, Cranks. I'm gonna see if he's actually available, maybe to get in on raid call, and we might be able to. I don't know if you guys want to ask him a few questions. Hey, are
Oh,
you available for interview? I'm gonna see if he is available. I know he's having some internet issues, so poor Cranks had to run down to Starbucks today to be able to play this competition, and I'm sure glad he was able to make it there.
Yeah, I hope you had an audience there watching the Starbucks. That'd be fun.
I can Skype, can't raid call here. Okay, I might lose you guys' video feed, but let me see if we can add him onto the call. Okay, let's see. Go ahead and DM me your Skype info. Alright, we're gonna try to add him to the call. Might mess up the video feed here, but that's okay. Give us just one sec. Alright, and for those of you just tuning in, why don't you, because we have quite a few more viewers than we did earlier, so why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves again. Tell us what you're about. You guys did an amazing job casting this tournament, by the way.
Thank you, V. I'm Morgan, a regular at the channel. Been playing Hearthstone since beta was released. Love the games, love the competition, and had a lot of fun casting for you guys today.
I'm Eliegel. Also been playing since beta. Been Legend. You can follow me on Twitter at Eliegel, and I've got some YouTube videos up of me grinding the Legend this season. Not quite there yet, so you can check those out too. Links on my Twitter page.
Oh yeah, let me go ahead and, even though it will be late when this gets up, but we will put your guys' caster info. Alright, Crank's looking for him now. Give me just one second here. Search. Alright, here we go. Alright, adding him here now. I'm gonna add him to the call. You can go ahead and say hi to the chat, by the way. I mean, you are 15 minutes delayed, but they will see you up here.
I hope you all enjoyed these matches as much as I did. These were some very interesting decks, and it was certainly a breath of fresh air to see not the typical meta decks.
Yeah, I have to say, not very many aggro at all, which is a really nice change when that's what you're doing, grinding up the aggro ladder here.
Yeah, well, one mech mage, but it was a little bit later with some unstable portals. No hunters. That really surprised me.
Hey,
Only
man.
one rogue as well.
Hey, Cranks!
Hey,
Can
what's
you
up?
hear us?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you. What's up,
Sorry.
guys?
All the video's gonna mess up now because we're adding you to the call, but that's okay. Alright. You could put on video if you like. Or you could leave it off. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. You don't have to be on video.
I'd have to. Nah.
No
One
biggie.
second.
Don't even worry about it.
All right, that's fine. No worries. Oh man, that was crazy.
Well, Cranks,
Great job.
congratulations.
Thanks, guys. That's awesome. The third match was insane. The Shaman versus Pally.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that Neptulon. Do you think it provided the Murlocs? Were those
That-
your
that-
favorite Murlocs?
That golden Neptulon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the card draw did help. The war leader was good. The charge did help too. The 2-1, the 1-1,
There we
the
go.
Burlock Scout was iffy, but they can't all be winners. So
The scout
No,
stayed on the board. He was a hero at the end.
yeah, I know, right? He's sticking it out. But
Now, in your first game, you took a Paladin against this Shaman deck.
yeah,
What did you think of Sid's Shaman deck? This happened to be one of my favorite decks.
it was more of an old school Shaman deck, right?
A little
I don't
bit.
know. I haven't seen Alex very much in any Shaman deck.
Yeah, that was strange. I was surprised to see Alex Straza. That was a little unexpected there. But yeah, I had the Peacekeepers. Those helped a lot for Dr. Boom and Alex Straza.
And so did the lightning storm there, hitting for 2 on 5 of
Oh
your
my
3 health
God.
minions.
That was insane. I was like, oh, I felt so bad for Sid. I was like, that was so bad. Oh, the RNG, man, gets you.
Now,
Yeah.
we did notice that you didn't bring any aggro decks. You pretty much played 100%
Well, I
control.
stuck to my word. I said
Woo!
control
Good
decks.
job, Cranks.
I didn't say any aggro, no cancer. So,
I know.
Now, you
yeah,
didn't get to bring out your
demon
demon
lock.
lock at
Yeah,
all. Were you
that was
confident in that deck?
I didn't get to practice much of it today, so I wasn't confident at all, really. So that's why I just stuck with Shaman and Pally. So I didn't, unfortunately, with the modem issues, I didn't get to practice it all much. So
Yeah.
I did beat Nimsh with that Demon Lock deck though, so it is a strong deck. It's just I didn't get to practice much with it, so that's why I didn't bring it out.
All right, I have the burning question that all of chat wants to know. You're at
What's up?
Starbucks right now, right?
Yeah,
What did you have to drink? What was the winning drink of the tournament?
just a regular coffee,
A
regular
regular
black
coffee.
coffee.
No
Yeah,
sugar,
that's it.
nothing?
Yeah,
Jeez.
sugar. They gotta sweeten up a bit. I can't drink straight black coffee.
Oh, okay.
And was anybody watching? Did they know you were playing in a tournament here? Winning a
No,
tournament?
I was kind of off to the corner, just minding my own business.
Maybe you can celebrate with a second coffee now.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I hope you'll take.
Buy everybody around the coffee at Starbucks.
You're like, I just won a tournament. I just won V Cup, and they have no idea what you're talking about. It'll be beautiful.
Well, at the very least, you absolutely need to take a selfie of some sort. I'm not a selfie person myself, but if I was there, I'd still be doing it.
Yes, and I'll retweet you as winner, so make sure you tweet it at me. Oh, that was awesome, and almost being legend this season. Do you feel a little bit of confident boost now that you kicked everybody's butt in the tournament?
Yeah, that definitely helped. I was planning on hitting legend today, but unfortunately couldn't play ranked really. So I'll try
Aw,
again when I get everything sorted out.
perfect. Well, if you hit legend today, you could be legend and then also V Cup winner. So there you go.
There you go.
Awesome. Did you guys have any more questions for Cranks?
Just, just congratulations. Great
Thanks,
job,
guys.
man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
very
it.
good job,
It
and
was
I have
fun.
to say I'm very proud of you, especially not
Thank you,
using
V.
the aggro decks. So you played very, very well, and seeing some of the tournament matches I did when I hosted that other tournament, you guys were right up there. You guys need to be in more tournaments for sure. So
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to it. It was awesome.
awesome. All right, well, we will see you later. Thank you,
All right.
Cranks.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. It was really fun.
Awesome.
All right,
Uh,
guys.
See you,
bye.
Cranks.
Bye.
All right, I'm gonna lose your guys' video here again. But that's okay. Thank you so much again. These are our casters. Go ahead and introduce yourselves one more time so everybody knows who you are. You guys did such an amazing job, I have to say. Very entertaining. Very good
Once-
commentating on the plays.
Yes, this is Elieagle once again. Twitter at Elieagle, and if you can't spell that, exclamation point casters in chat will bring up that name, and you'll see me there pretty often.
And this is Morgan in game and Morgan01 in the chat. Feel free to leave me a Twitch message if you liked it. You want to see more.
Awesome. All right.